Welcome back to the PigSkin podcast. This is season 2, episode 17, I think, at this point.
18.
18? Is it 18? Okay. We did miss last week. I had some exams and a bunch of stuff going on. Sebastian, I think you were out of town, I believe, correct?
Went to Austin, went to Worst Fest.
Oh, nice. How was that?
Dude, that place is actually fucking chill. Do you know what that is, Worst Fest?
Mm-mm.
So I've been wanting to go for a while, and basically just it's like Oktoberfest, like a bunch of dudes wear their lederhosen. They got the steins of beer.
That's sick.
Yeah, no, it was pretty dope. We had a lot of fun. It was $25 to get in. Turkey leg was like $15. So I spent money, and I was not very happy with the money that I had to spend, but I had a good time. It's in New Braunfels. It's a little past Austin, but yeah, dope. If you ever get the chance, they do it like maybe 5 times out of the year.
Okay. So, is it like a weekend type thing?
Yeah, we did it they do I think Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I don't know. It's open to 12.
Here in Econ, they do a Renaissance fair,
yeah,
and a couple other things would be pretty sick. So
I wanted to go to that when we first moved to Oklahoma.
Yeah, it's probably something we'll do next time it comes around. But with that being said, we did miss our preview for last weekend. Obviously, it was a pretty good weekend, pretty entertaining weekend. Sunday sucked shit for both Sebastian and I. Saturday was good. I think we're going to go ahead and start there. OU gets back on track with a win. It's about time. It's the first time in a month.
Real quick,
OU's won.
I was very, very depressed and sad about the Commanders' loss, and also OU losing to Ole Miss. I just had a really bad football weekend.
Yep.
The weekend before, and I totally forgot that big announcement for you, which I think you had brought it up, but you had brought it up very, very, very nonchalant.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations on the engagement.
Thanks, man.
Our boy Dalton is going to marry his best friend.
We're not getting married, you and I.
Oh, I'm the best friend? Hell yeah.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, totally.
Suck shit through a straw, Aurora. Did she hear that?
I'm going to clip it.
I know she's going to watch that. She's going to uninvite me to
the wedding. We're a minute and a half. That's about as far as she gets into our podcast anyways. So she'll probably see that.
She probably just watched the intro, didn't even get this far.
Probably not. So it's okay. We can keep our secret love affair on the side. But no, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. It was a long time coming. She definitely deserved it. But yeah.
Did you fall when you went to go on a knee?
I didn't. No.
Okay. Now, did you fake the knee like Trevor Lawrence, where he didn't get all the way down?
I didn't. I went no shoes, so I didn't have to worry about it getting the shoes or anything creased or anything like that. I had socks on, so it was clean. It's a clean operation.
I was thinking that's good. That's good. I was thinking in my head, who was the quarterback that did the fake knee and then he threw the touchdown? But I think it was a fake spike. Was it Joe Montana? Or
Joe Montana hit the fake spike, yeah.
Okay.
Well, Kenny Pickett had the fake slide.
Yeah.
So kind of similar.
And then you had the fake knee, so.
Yeah. There we go. Not entirely because my knee has been reconstructed. But
true.
That's another reason I got a fake knee. But
we had football this weekend.
We did have football this weekend. On Saturday, we had good, entertaining football. The OU game was supposed to kick off at 1:30, but due to the weather, they moved it to 11, which, looking back on it, smart move. Arizona State was delayed for a century, it seemed like. So I didn't miss a snap. Obviously, I'm a football guy. I watched at work, but I didn't get the full feel of the first half while I was at work. But I did like what I saw. Felt some continuity on offense. Obviously, Javonte Barnes had over 200 yards, his best game. Now,
I'm all the way back on the Sooners now.
I know.
I'm feeling really confident.
Me too, which is scary. I know it was Maine. Okay, we both know that it was against Maine. We understand that. However, when you're supposed to dominate an opponent and you dominate an opponent, that's what you like to see. Great snaps for guys like Logan Hallen. Especially we played well. We didn't even allow a sack. Heath Ozada, I think, had his best game, again, against Maine, but it's a building block for success.
Would they have done this 4 weeks ago? with the offense that was put on the field?
Probably not. No,
Like nail biter?
not nail biter. I think they pull away in the end, but it's probably a 20-point game as opposed to a 45-point game.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying Temple's not a very good football team, and the defense had to basically do all the scoring. I mean, get us into like field position for Jackson Arnold to throw to Deion Burks.
I will say this though.
Is that kid coming back, by the way, before we get into that?
Brent keeps saying he's getting close, which is the old fucking Lincoln Riley bullshit, but he's getting closer. The targets, at least for Jalil Farouk, has always been the Missouri game. So we'll see. But Deion and Jalil are both trending in the right direction, from what I've been told and from what
I think Jalil should just sit out till in medical redshirt and come back.
Well, he already can. He can play 4 games. He only played 1.
Yeah, but if he plays these 4 games and he goes off and he's got enough tape to go to the NFL, I'd love to have him back next season.
Fair enough. Even
though he's going to be old.
God, I know. But the target has always been the Missouri game for him. I think it's a similar target for Deion Burks. Nick Anderson, Andrew Anthony, and Jaden Gibson, I'm just done on them for the season. But
well, yeah, they shouldn't come back. They got serious injuries.
Exactly. The team that went out there and played Maine, again against Maine, do you think that Oklahoma team beats one of Ole Miss, South Carolina, or Tennessee?
Maybe Tennessee, because at the time their offense was kind of stalling. I don't think they would have beaten. I mean, they didn't beat Ole Miss, so there's that. Which we'll get an Ole Miss later. They don't beat South Carolina either.
No,
South Carolina's a good team, dude.
They are. I like. We're big Beamer boys, right? Always love Beamer ball, but I'm glad that things have kind of turned around. I like Shane Beamer.
Yeah, me too.
One to stick around. Defense looks great. I know there was a point where I was at work, kind of shitting my pants when OU went 3-9 on the first drive, and they gave up the touchdown drive to Maine. I think that outside of the South Carolina game, I think that was the lowest point all season that I've ever felt in my soul. But then Javonte Barnes gets it.
I didn't even know they were down, like, because I was driving to Austin at the time. So when I finally started watching the game, because I was trying to listen to the Penn State Ohio State game, I switched it over to Oklahoma Maine. It was 14-7, and I thought, okay, like, doing what they're supposed to do early in the first quarter.
Yeah, no, there was a pit in my stomach got really, really big for just a second, and then Javonte Barnes rips off the 74-yard run, puts it back in the end zone 2 plays later, and
I don't think I would have. Even if I would have seen 0-7, I probably wouldn't have felt worried. I mean,
I wasn't worried for the outcome. It's just that moment.
It's just other college football fans, because it reminds you of like the Citadel being up 7-0 Alabama.
Yeah, like, the Appalachian State Michigan thing. And, just made me feel sick. But I did see a stat today. OU's defense is 17th in the country in stop rate. Did you see that?
17th in the country in stop rate?
Yeah, in stop rate.
Shit. Well,
Tennessee's first at 80%.
They're 30th at like just in total defense in the country, like 30th or something like that. Yeah. It probably would have been much better if our offense wasn't just completely dog shit.
7 weeks.
But I don't know, letting up 14 points. That kind of pissed me off. I don't think you should have let up any points. But then again,
I will say the play to get them right by the end zone was pretty cool. Going to the guy I don't know if you heard the story about him. Going through chemo twice and everything. So kind of a cool moment for Maine. I will say the Reggie Powers pick that didn't count. Danny Okoye about took the quarterback's head off. I don't know if you saw that.
I'll say something nice about Maine. Their running back should probably play FBS football.
Yeah.
He's a big dude.
He is. He looked good too.
Yeah, he looked good.
He played well. Not really a whole lot to get into the game. I mean, like we said, it is Maine, but OU dominated an opponent they're supposed to dominate. Get some good momentum going forward. The Unity uniforms always look clean. Hopefully, it just gives them some positive momentum going into Columbia, Missouri this weekend. They're going to need it.
The Jackson Arnold touchdown throw to J.J. Hester was sick.
Fantastic.
Like, that's one of those, like, yeah, that's what that guy can do. Mm-hmm. Now do it against better competition so we can be happy going forward. Offensive line is still kind of a worry, though. I mean, in Sebastian, hopefully this is like a turning point for him where Like he's starting to kind of figure it out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Ozida, I don't know. I think he just needs. He just needs. You know, I'll say this: a guy that you're very high on, and I'm really starting to like more and more every time he plays. Eddie Pierre-Louis. I like him a lot, dude.
That personal foul was the best thing I saw all game.
Well, yeah. We need
Got that
somebody to be
nasty to him,
nasty.
man.
Yeah, we need somebody to be nasty, and I'm really hoping that Tarquin's good to go next week.
I do too.
It's
Sexton's
really
probably done for the season.
Yeah, I
Jake
know that
Taylor's
sucks,
probably
man.
going to be done for the season.
Because I thought Sexton played well against Ole Miss. It would have been nice to, like, it felt like that was kind of a turning point for him where he was starting to kind of figure out a little bit.
I felt like it was a
But
turning point for the
Allen,
team. When he went down, it felt like everything just shifted
yeah.
upside down.
Now, JJ Hester, pretty cool that he was the first, or no other OU player has had a 90-yard touchdown reception on Owen Field, correct?
Correct.
He's the first one?
Correct.
He's got no more eligibility, right?
I don't believe so.
I kind of like JJ Hester anytime touchdown next week against his former team. Just kind of putting it together.
Yeah. I also.
He looks great in a football uniform, right?
He looks like the quintessential wide receiver.
He looks like the best wide receiver on the team, right?
Physically, yep.
Like between him and Nick Anderson.
Probably. Yeah.
Him, Nick Anderson. Maybe Jaden Gibson puts on a little bit of size.
Yeah.
But like the 6'4", 220, got speed.
Yeah.
I kind of wish we could have seen more from that guy.
Yeah.
Like I wish he didn't have the injuries.
You know what's crazy is even on the 90-yard touchdown, he was jogging through his route before he turned it upfield. And then
I know.
He double clutched the ball when he caught it. It was not a clean catch. Like, dude, every play with him.
He's probably just surprised. He's
Yeah.
probably surprised like that was right to me. I don't think he was expecting it to be right in his hands.
It's the prettiest ball Jackson's thrown as a center.
I still think the Temple one was the prettiest, the one that he dropped.
Yeah, that one. Yeah,
that's two though. So I mean,
the one to Jalil was beautiful too.
Maybe that instills a little bit of confidence in him. I love Jacob Jordan, dude. I think that guy he should be starting next season.
He's our New Drake Stoops, man.
Yeah, I think he's a little bit more athletic too.
I would probably agree with that.
He's a little bit more athletic. And obviously the story of the game, Javonte Barnes. But
career day.
It's kind of what you wanted to see out of the running backs. So
it's what we expected to get from Javonte Barnes last season.
Yeah. Is he bow-legged? Kind of a weird question. It looks funny when he runs. Like you could tell his knees are kind of apart.
Yeah. I don't know. It's weird, but he made dudes miss.
Yeah, which hopefully instills a little bit of confidence into him going forward. It's like you said, it's against Maine. You're not going to make any proclamations. I mean, obviously, you should beat the shit out of that team. It's no surprise. You probably should have even beat them by more because you're Oklahoma.
Like I was saying all week, if you can score 100, go score 100.
Yeah. Well, maybe this is like a confidence change because now the Missouri's just a much better, much more talented football team. They've got their struggles on offense now. Well, Brady Cook, he's probably not going to play next week. It's going to be Drew Pine. How bad is his injury? Because I'm hearing two different things. He could come back.
I have no idea.
Well, if it's Drew Pine, I think we'll win the game.
Yeah, I was talking to a person about it today. They asked, and I was like, well, you can call Drew Pine a lot of things, but I don't know if quarterback's necessarily one of them. So, no offense to Drew Pine. He's just
he's just a kid.
He is
just a kid. But it is crazy. Like their offense just isn't.
It's been bad all year.
Well, yeah, their offense just it lost most of its like rushing productivity when Cody Schrader, since he's no longer on the team. So Brady Cook is he their leading rusher or is it one of the running backs?
He's not. Their leading rusher is Nate Noel, 503 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Okay. Well, Schrader
the leading receiver, Steele Weiss with 482 yards.
We got 2 revenge games. 3.
Yeah, Caden.
Yeah. So
He's
three
looked
Vikings.
ridiculously decent at fucking guard.
Yeah,
Crazy.
well,
Maybe you should have stuck with the best offensive line coach in the country.
yeah, that's true. We're gonna see. We're gonna find out just how wrong people or OU fans are about Bill Bedenbaugh if this offensive line plays well the next 3 games, because this is gonna be a tough stretch. Missouri, Alabama, and LSU are just a way different caliber of talent on defense than Maine is. And
The promising part was how well they played for 30 minutes against Ole Miss, one of the best offense or defenses in the country, especially on the interior.
I'll say this: I'm all the way back. I think we're gonna win out. We're gonna make
It's
a bowl
scary
game.
because it's scary because it's coming out too. I'm feeling the same way.
Yeah.
I got this newfound confidence that I'm walking around.
That is
it's crazy what
a powerhouse in Maine. That is an FCS 4 powerhouse that we just
they beat
like,
number 5 ranked Villanova, so they're not just totally shit. I guess the New Balance uniforms are kind of clean. That's a cool brand to see in football. New Balance is fire.
Yeah. I don't really know how I feel about the Unity uniforms. I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm still getting used to the gray.
It's tough when there's backups in to know who's out there. Like the DBs, I had no idea who was out there all game.
Should Oklahoma do a white helmet with, instead of the OU logo, the schooner?
That'd be fire.
Like the schooner on the side?
Kind of like how Oklahoma State does the Pistol Pete logo.
Yeah. Maybe do that.
Don't copy whatever Oklahoma State did this last week. Yeah, 100%.
I like their old uniforms more. That's just me. But Oklahoma, they're probably going to come out with an alternative. I don't think they need to. I think, like, the thing about Oklahoma, like their uniform, it's like Alabama. Like, you don't change the uniform. Like, it's football, it's tradition. But if they were going to do an alternate now that they're in the SEC and they want to have something cool for the Jordan brand, it would be cool to have like a white helmet with the
white schooner would be fire.
Yeah, or even red with the white schooner.
Mm-hmm.
So that'd be sick.
White face mask, maybe. Would be fire.
Are there any concerns about Brendan Thompson? Because did he get hurt in that game?
Yeah, it was a tough fall. I mean, is it an insane catch to make?
Yeah.
But yeah, he looked like he got the worst of that. It looked.
Arnold's got to figure. He's got to figure out that pass connection with some of these receivers. It feels like he's just trying to.
Jordan. Yeah, he just tries to fire everything.
It's like Bo Nix. Like he just throws it as hard as he possibly can.
It's like early Brett Favre, man.
Yeah, but he is gaining more confidence and he's making better decisions and he's doing better in the RPO game. And Bauer Sharp, he was awesome. He played in the FCS, so hopefully he should be able to dominate those guys. But I think there's a formula. I think like Oklahoma's kind of finding their identity now with Joe John Finley and Kevin Johns. Mm-hmm. Is it going to beat Alabama and LSU? Probably not. But there is a formula. Run the ball, control time of possession. You're probably going to win. If you're going to win these next 3 games, it's going to have to be low scoring. Like you're going to have to rely probably on your defense not giving up more than 14 points. Maybe against LSU, you could score 20 or 28. I think the defense is still not very good. I mean, their defense has gotten better, but
Bama's defense is not that good either. Bama's defense ranks in the mid-60s.
Their secondary is not very good. Their front seven is still very good. Their front seven is still very dominant. Overton that guy's a monster.
Yeah, fuck, I know.
Missouri's, they got some dudes too in their front seven. So
yeah. But if Alabama could hold Missouri to 0 points, OU can certainly hold Missouri to 0 points.
Yeah, that's true. If you're going to hold Missouri,
my question is,
you have your defense rested, and honestly, they got to figure out something with the cheetah position, right? Because I feel like they just keep rotating. And I like it.
Where's Samuel Masigo?
I don't know.
Is that like no snaps last 2 games?
Did he get hurt? We didn't hear anything on that.
Yeah, well, we didn't have there's no injury report last week or availability report last week because it was an SEC game, but still. Gavin Sawchuk hadn't played it down since Texas?
Well, he got hurt again.
Yeah, I know. Still.
He's probably going to be in the transfer portal, to be honest. Because when you look at, he's still a very good running back. He needs to find a team with a good offensive line that fits his.
You know where
kind
he
of running
needs to
style.
go? Iowa.
Yeah. Penn State.
Penn State.
Yeah, and we're going to get into Penn State here in a little bit. I got some thoughts on that.
Michigan.
Offense.
He'd run the fuck out the ball in Michigan. Oh, man.
Michigan's got some things to think about with the head coaching position. But
yeah Sherrone not really well. I'll take Sherrone Moore as an offensive analyst, though.
Whenever
come back to Norman, buddy.
Yeah. Whenever you look at some of the young guys, like I'm starting to see it with Taylor Tatum. I didn't see it, early in the season, but
he's putting it together up here.
Yeah,
it's coming together. The pieces are coming together, and it makes me
so
fucking stoked.
Javonte Barnes is going to come back for another year. I mean, he's got to put some more on tape if he wants to make the NFL. He's probably going to be your number one back in the Taylor Tatum. Yeah, he's going to be the featured guy. Taylor Tatum's going to come in. They're going to put him probably like on the down and distance kind of packages. But then you've also got Xavier Robinson,
who was fucking running through dudes, man. Xavier Robinson, I would be completely fine giving him the ball with 0 offensive linemen from the 10-yard line, just telling him to score. Like, dude.
Maybe if we played Caleb Hicks, I don't know what's going on there. Like, DeMarco Murray's got to figure out why he's not seeing the field. Like, I know against Maine, you want some of the true freshmen to play so they get that experience. But if Gavin Sawchuk isn't going to play next week, and you're figuring out this offensive line, Caleb Hicks can run the ball.
Caleb Hicks feels very similar to the Jaquez Petaway situation.
Yeah, I don't know. The way Brent Venables and the staff has kind of handled the roster situation's been kind of weird. But maybe if things kind of round in the form a little bit, they might put Caleb Hicks out there to get a couple of snaps to get him going. He's still a redshirt freshman.
Yeah, my thought on that is I feel like at this point in the season, the coaching staff knows who's looking at coming back and who's maybe thinking about leaving. And I think you can throw Jaquez Petaway's name in there. Probably Caleb Hicks. Probably throw his hat in the ring. Maybe a guy like Zion Reagans. I don't know.
I mean, we'll see. I think guys that I would love to keep in, like the young guys, I'd like to keep Zion Kearney because I still believe in him once he gets.
100%. I love Zion.
I believe in Zion Kearney. He hasn't really done anything this season, but I just think he could be. I believe in Jaquez Petaway too. Not as much as I believe in Zion Kearney.
Well, Zion Kearney's been out there and gotten the ball. He's worked well.
Yeah.
He's done well.
But there's a lot of young guys I'm glad that got to play today. And on the defensive side of the ball, it's good to see, some of those guys go out there and play. Like we got to see Taylor Wine.
He looked good.
Nasty. Yeah.
He looked good. I will say, and I'm stealing this 1,000% from Eichert and Lehman, but they brought up a really good point that I hadn't thought about. We had kind of talked about that meathead position, right? You and I had always said Kobe McKenzie. Taylor Wine could be maybe like the Aaron Ripkowski at H-back. Like just.
He's got the size.
Yeah. Like name one linebacker in the country that, not to say they'd be scared of him, but name one linebacker in the country that would see him on tape at H-back and be like, all right, let's do it. Like everyone, they'd all probably be pretty excited about it, but they'd be a little bit like, fuck. Like, dude, having to slam into that dude for a fucking game would be awful.
If you're talking about guys that we like for the rest of the schedule, I can't really think of anybody. Maybe Barrett Carter at Clemson, but we don't play them, so maybe a Georgia linebacker. But
they'd be excited for it, but most guys would be like, fuck.
It would be nice to have a fullback for some of the split zone stuff that they do.
Yeah, when you run schemes that favor having a fullback meathead type guy, it'd be nice to fucking have someone.
Yeah.
I miss Trey.
I miss Dimitri Flowers. But it is it is nice that like Joe John Finley he's like him and Kevin Johnson working together to put an identity together for this team. Mm-hmm. Seems like the guys, there's just not like head scratchers, like hey, what are you doing?
Yeah. Jackson's clearly seeing it a lot better.
Yeah. Which I don't know. I still think you need to make an offensive coordinator hire next season.
Oh, 100%. No, Jody Finley is not getting the job in my book. He wants that.
Well,
is he going to want to stay,
we're about
though?
to find out.
I don't want to keep him. Yeah. Now, who's to say OU doesn't go out here and run the table and the offense looks fantastic?
Yeah, I know.
Do you still go out and make another hire, or do you, but the fact of the matter is Brent's head's on the chopping block. And
yeah, I know. Who knows how much Brent even had? Like, who knows? Maybe Joe C's down his back, which I hope that's not the case. I don't want administration issues, but I don't know. We're gonna find out.
It's exciting.
So
stressful.
Yeah, no defense.
Exciting.
Defense. Got to put it together the next few games. If you want to run the table, if you want to run the table and you want to win out and go 8-4. We're going to have to rely on the defense. Is Robert Spears-Jennings our best safety now? Like, is Billy Bowman?
I 1000% think it's RSJ, dude. He leads. I think either the country or the SEC, but he leads in forced fumbles.
Yeah, he had the good one, the big.
And I think my favorite player on this team, I think it's Michael Boganowski. Dude, he just cracks dudes every time he gets in the game.
Well, let me ask you this. Who's your starting safeties next year?
Oh, God. Can we trust Peyton Bowen?
Yeah.
Feels very weird to me to say because I've been the king of the Peyton Bowen train. I've been running that motherfucker ever since.
Injuries kind of halt you from progress.
They do. And I think if he stays healthy, I think he plays a lot more.
Injured. Everybody on Oklahoma.
I know. What's Jerry Smith doing? Is he not feeding these dudes enough fucking steroids? Come on now, man. Do whatever you got to do. Do you think RSJ's gone after this year? Or do you think he comes back?
I think he comes back.
So I think it'd be RSJ, Peyton Bowen, maybe Jaden Hardy, Michael Boganowski.
They'll probably interchange.
They're going to rotate them all through, yeah.
We need a star corner, and I think Eli Bowen is probably a starting corner next year. Yeah. We need Gentry Williams back. We need lockdown corners. That's been an issue for Oklahoma the past few weeks. I mean, Maine obviously they didn't really have to do much, but I think Eli Bowen. I think going forward he probably needs to start.
Eli Bowen plays like he's 6'2".
Right now, if we're with the way that we've been talking about Oklahoma, and the season's already. I mean, the train's falling off the tracks. Probably want to play Eli Bowen because if he's going to be the future, if this guy is really as good as he's shown to be, you kind of want to out there getting the reps and learning the defense and making the mistakes.
Yeah. You know who I wish is one guy? Well, he wouldn't have played this year, I don't think. You know who I wish one guy is that didn't leave early? CJ Colton.
Yeah, he was cold.
He was good as fuck.
Yeah,
that first year. Oh, I wish he would have stayed.
But he wasn't like, Jalen Ramsey.
No, but he was.
He was good.
Him, Woody Washington, and Gentry Williams last year would have been absolutely insane.
Yeah, the Woody Washington situation is kind of weird. They just need to play him at corner. I know Brent Venables wants big, tall, like 6'2" corners, but right now your two best corners are
Eli Bowen and Woody Washington.
Guys that are 5'11".
And plus, Woody Washington is the most fundamentally sound outside of Danny Stuntz, maybe football player on the team.
Yeah. Well, him, I mean, the guys that return, so Woody Washington, Billy Bowman, and Danny Stutzman, which that's going to be a big loss, dude. Danny Stutzman. I mean, that's how much can we trust Kobe McKenzie and Kip Lewis next year?
I think enough.
Yeah.
I trust Kip
more than either one of them. Yeah, maybe they take like a leaps and bounds. And that's the thing with Danny Stutzman, we got to see the growth. You don't really, I mean, the defense is just so good for Oklahoma, and they're all just, I mean, it's just so much better than they were the past couple of years that you don't really get to talk about guys that have had growth that like just stand out. Like they all stand out.
I think, yeah, they do. I think Kobe McKenzie's taking a pretty big leap this year from where he was last year.
Yeah, I think
The fact that he can be
better.
trusted to be out there without Danny is huge, in my opinion.
David Stone, man.
Awesome.
Yeah, David Stone. Yeah, that guy is going to be. He's progressing much faster than I thought he would. Need PJ to stay healthy.
Yes.
He's got to be a factor next year. He's got to have like an R. Mason Thomas type of lead, because I know R. Mason Thomas the past few weeks stat sheets don't really show anything, but he's kind of having like a Montez Sweat kind of season where like he's so important on the edge with Ethan Downs that
we're also
not to get too far. I mean, like we're basically done talking about the game, but
yeah, we're also not getting teams in enough passing situations where R. Mason Thomas can kind of just feast. That's kind of the other problem there. But I mean, we could go all day. We really
happy about the win.
Very happy about the win. It's good to get back on the win column, and like I said, get some positive momentum going to hopefully get this thing back on the tracks.
Very sad season that this is a happy moment for us.
Yeah, I've been very happily depressed about it all week. Ever since it happened. The next game, I think we should get into. Penn State just can't do it, man. They can't do it. They just can't. James Franklin cannot will this team to a victory against Ohio State. Maybe Michigan this year, but they cannot beat Ohio State.
Go ahead and read off the stat. You don't know it? They announced it several times, everywhere.
I don't care to know it. It hurts my soul to know it.
James Franklin is 1-11 against Ohio State.
2016 is that one win, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
With the blocked field goal that took to win it. That was the season where there was back-to-back weeks with blocked field goals. Remember that?
Yeah.
Because we had the Florida State, Georgia Tech one. Crazy.
Yep. James Franklin is 1-11 against Ohio State. And to be honest, whenever just going back and watching the game for a second time, I think Ohio State probably could have won by more than. They could have won by double digits. I think they probably could have scored 30 if they wanted to. If Will Howard didn't start off with a pick six and then also fumble in the end zone.
Yeah.
But Ohio State, Ryan Day he has Penn State's number. I mean, Ohio State just has changed Franklin's number, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand what Andy Kotelnicki was trying to do. I like Andy Kotelnicki a lot.
Yep.
His game plan it really didn't make a bunch of sense. Some of the stuff that they were really good at in the run game, and I know Ohio State has just a ferocious defense. Caleb Downs and all those guys are just incredible. But perimeter runs, man, maybe it's that first drive. It seemed like they had everything going and the holding call. I mean, they could have scored a touchdown on that first drive, of course. Penalties negated that. They had to settle for a field goal. And then they got the pick six, and I mean, it's 10-0. I mean, within the blink of an eye, and I still felt that this is going to be.
It didn't feel safe to me.
Yeah, that's. I almost trusted Chip Kelly and Will Howard more than Drew Aller and Andy Kotelnicki just because of what happened on that first drive on offense. Yep. Where it was that was a really good scripted first drive. And they basically shot themselves in the foot by not being able to score 6 on that first just to start. If they were up 14-0, we're probably talking about this game different. But with it being 10-0, you knew Ohio State was. They were going to find a way to win the game, and I'm very impressed with their offensive line, dude. Ohio State's offensive line had not been very good. They've had to shuffle guys around. They had to move a right guard to left tackle.
Mm-hmm.
They were physically moving guys off the ball. Obviously, and left tackle, he's not their starting left tackle. He gave up a couple of sacks. Abdul Carter's a fantastic player. The guy's going to be a first-round draft pick.
First-round draft pick.
He's going to be an early first. Yeah, I mean, he's Micah Parsons. I mean, that's basically what he was built in a lab to be, just like Parsons. But I mean, just all the stuff that Andy Kotelnicki was trying to do, it's And I get it. Like they had trouble trying to move the ball on the ground. It just feels like with Drew Aller, Andy Kotelnicki needs like a Jason Beam or a like a Jalen Daniels or like a
He
player
needs
like that, like a
he needs a change of pace quarterback.
Marcel Reed from A&M. He would be very good in that offense.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So it just feels. It feels like Drew Aller. Like I think he's still a very good quarterback. Like that. I'm not trying to take anything away from him. I know he didn't have like his best game. The interception in the end zone wasn't really his fault. That was just a fantastic play by the Ohio State corner for him to basically just have the concentration to get the ball. I mean, he did his best. He did what he could, but Ohio State Penn State just doesn't have a stud wide receiver like they had in the past. Jahan Dotson and KJ Hamler and some of those guys.
Yeah.
But who's the other one? There's another Penn State wide receiver that they've had that was a stud playing for the NFL now.
I can't think.
Yeah. Well, either way, Ohio State had they had everything that Penn State had, except they had a more experienced quarterback. And Chip Kelly called a hell of a game, dude.
He did.
Chip Kelly called a hell of a game. Look, I know we like Will Howard, but there are times where he'll do something and you're just like, whoa.
He makes a Will Howard mistake.
Yeah. He's got like a Derek Carr kind of brain where he's like, he's a good quarterback. Well, yeah. Derek Carr when he played for the Raiders.
Yeah.
Kind of Derek Carr. But Will Howard, he had some incredible throws, and I thought he was really good this game.
Yeah.
I mean,
really good.
And the running backs.
He did what he needed to do to win. I mean, he managed the game. They could not, at the end of the game, they could not force any movement on Ohio State's front.
Isn't that that's like an offense? That's like a dream for an offensive coordinator to end the game the way that it did. Yeah. Or they have 15 run plays to run out the clock.
In the last 5, almost 6 minutes.
I mean, that's just a nightmare scenario for James Franklin at Penn State, but that was impressive of Ohio State to end the game the way that they did. And it was Will Howard that picked up the first down to ice it, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, yes, he did. Just want to throw this out there. So, from Jackson Arnold tonight, quote, we're going into this week damn, we're getting 2 of our studs back at receiver. We've had guys play great, but you get 2 leaders, 2 studs coming back. It's a big confidence booster for the offense.
So Deion Burks is coming back.
Angelo, maybe.
I'm just afraid to have Jalil back right now.
See, sorry, that just popped up. I had to throw that in there. So
thank you for sharing.
Yeah, no, I mean, I just where does that? So let's pop over to the rankings real quick. Oregon 1, Ohio State 2. That's what they thought about that win. Was it pushed Ohio State from 4 to 2? Georgia at 3, Miami 4, Texas 5. That's your top 5. Penn State gets bumped from 3 to 6. You got Tennessee at 7, Indiana, BYU, Notre Dame is the top 10. Alabama and Boise State are the last 2 in. You still there?
Yeah, sorry, I had a phone call.
Oh, no, you're good. So what, in your mind, what is that? Does that make Ohio State the second best team in the country? Is it that impressive of a win to put it over anything Georgia's done?
I mean, they beat the number 3 team in the country.
And in the same vein, I mean, I guess it really doesn't matter because Oregon's the number 1 team in the country and Georgia would be your 2 seed anyways.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Georgia's win over Texas is probably more impressive.
That's kind of what I was thinking. As much as I love Penn State, I mean, it's not like it was – if it was the inverse, Ohio State was undefeated and probably number 1 in the country at that time. And Penn State, who doesn't – like you said, 1-16 against Ohio State. If Penn State then beats Ohio State, I think that vaults Penn State up. It looks much more impressive than Georgia over Texas.
Yeah,
Because of
I
the
would think
situation
so,
at the
too.
time, I do think the Georgia win over Texas is a little bit more impressive.
So would Ohio State be
Be the 5.
They'd be the 5 seed right now?
Well, because Oregon's number 1.
Yeah.
As long as Oregon's number 1 and stays undefeated, they're the 1 seed. And then it's SEC champion at 2,
I was thinking
ACC,
Notre
Big 12.
Dame, but now, I was thinking, but after what happened this weekend, I'd probably put Ohio State over Notre Dame at the 5 seed.
That's going to be an absolute. If things kind of play out the way it looks like it will, an Oregon Ohio State Big Ten championship game is going to be pretty fucking insane.
Yeah, that's going to be a massive game, and
probably the 1 seed.
I'd still probably take Oregon again. To be honest,
and Gabriel has looked fantastic.
Yeah, it's starting to click for him. But impressive win for Ohio State. I mean, they didn't beat them by much. Like I mentioned earlier, I think they could have probably beat them by 2 scores.
Yeah.
But Caleb Downs, that guy's incredible, dude. He's the best safety. He's probably the best defensive player in the country, in my opinion.
If he's not 1, he's 2. Like that, I mean, that's I don't know who I'd put above him.
Stutzman. I mean, Stutzman's like stats don't pop up, but like if you're looking at guys like who's the most important to their defense,
I'll say most valuable is Danny Stutzman, 1,000%.
Like Stutzman, maybe Dylan Stewart in South Carolina.
Yeah,
he's a true freshman. That's scary.
Maybe Abdul Carter. I think he's up there. I think he matters a lot to that Penn State defense. But honestly, in the same vein for Ohio State, I'd almost take I can't pronounce his name, but their linebacker 44 over Caleb Downs is more valuable because he's the coach of the defense out there.
What about the pass rusher that has the really hard name? I'm gonna have to look it up.
Shit. Let me look. I'm looking at the roster.
JT
Chumamola.
Yeah. He's really fucking good too. They just got studs everywhere. Like they do. They built this team to win a national championship, and it's going to be kind of funny if they lose in the playoffs.
Well, that's my hope. That's my hope for Texas is that they get bounced early.
Yeah. But James Franklin again, a laughing stock. He got into it with a fan, which was funny. Also, did you see before we get into more about James Franklin, did you see because it happened at the Penn State game, right, where the kid was going up to Jason Kelsey?
Did you see Jason Kelsey's comment yesterday?
Yeah. No, because he talked about it during the game or like before the game started. Yeah, that was an awesome. That was just a great internet moment. I'm glad that video is out there. But if I'm that kid, I probably wouldn't antagonize a guy that willingly did the tush push like 15 times a game for like 2 seasons.
Was the bottom of the tush push for 15 times a game.
Probably the best center of all time too, right? He's the best center of all time.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, probably not the guy that you'd want to do that to, but
no, I'd avoid that at all costs.
Should he buy the kid a new phone?
Fuck no. No.
I think he should. I think you should buy him a new phone.
Why's that?
And then, like, before he hands it to him,
smash it.
Yeah. And say, I could do that a million more times because I make millions and millions of dollars more than you will ever make. Well, that kid's probably rich. That seems like a moment where that kid was probably really drunk, and when you're extremely drunk, you have absolutely your fight or flight senses are they're gone. You just feel like invincible. He had to have drinking Everclear.
Had to have.
Everclear or like some Evan Williams, like cheap, like college kid whiskey.
Yeah. The only time I've ever gotten sick was off some cheap college kid whiskey.
Yeah. Fireball, maybe?
Huh?
I said Fireball, maybe. Maybe that kid was drinking Fireball.
Maybe. I don't know.
What do they drink up there in the fucking scumbag?
Au jus,
What do
probably.
you think their favorite
Just
beer is?
French dip sauce, whatever it is.
Yeah,
Just straight up au jus, probably.
Philly cheesesteak. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure they have a beer they like drink. I
Probably
mean,
something
it's probably
gross.
just like Keystone,
Shiner Bock, maybe.
Bush Light,
Ugh. All right.
or Vanatti. Anyway, yeah, no, James Franklin. Yeah, right now you can kind of look at him and just laugh because he's 1-11 against Ohio State, but does it really fucking matter? Because he's going to go 11-1. He's going to win out and make the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's why the 12-team
The 12-team playoff
for Penn
was.
State.
Yeah, I want to say it was invented for Penn State to just make it to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Just squeak on in.
Well, and that's what's good, and that's what's good for James Franklin because the past like 3 years he hasn't been able to beat Ohio State or Michigan.
Let's put on the outside looking in.
Yeah, now he's going to be able to beat Michigan this year. Well, I mean, we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, Connell he's going to have to get back in the lab because I just don't know what they were trying to do at the goal line.
I don't either.
The goal line thing was really weird. Weren't they at like the 1 or half yard line? Could they not have tried to like do like a tush push or like a sneak?
Yeah, I don't know.
Brown looks big, isn't he? He's like 6'3" or 6'4".
Yeah.
200 something pounds.
I don't know what that play call was.
Did he run?
I really don't.
Or is he just Peyton Manning? Just
No, he can definitely move a little bit. He's athletic enough.
Yeah.
Kind of on that Jackson Arnold kind of. I think Jackson's a better athlete than he is, but he's.
Oh, I 100%. I'm taking Jackson Arnold's physical. I'm taking Jackson Arnold over Drew Aller just because of his ability to run the ball, and he's kind of fast.
Yeah.
I just think his arm talent's also better too. But I still think Drew
Aller
is. Yeah.
He's got more upside.
Is it weird that if I would take Drew Aller over Nico?
No.
Which is crazy for me to say for how high I'd been on Nico before.
I think Nico is the
needs
best.
another year.
Needs another year, but I think Nico's the best deep ball guy. Like if you just want someone that's going to throw shots, you want Nico.
He looked really good this past weekend.
But if you want guys that are going to go out there and can hit any spot on the field, whether it's short, intermediate, or deep, and be consistently accurate, consistently putting it in the right spot, I'd probably take Drew over Nico. But
yeah.
Nico has the ability, though, to develop into a much more efficient passer, though, and I think he will.
I feel like the writing's kind of on the wall that he's like the next Trevor Lawrence. Like people are gonna look at him and be like, yeah, just like his ability, like his size, his athleticism, his I guess you could say arm talent. I don't really know how to phrase that. Like his ability to throw, like it's just all there for him to be the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
So, I guess we could talk about the Tennessee-Kentucky game. Nico probably could have had 3 touchdowns and a lot more yards if his receivers didn't drop some passes.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like it's kind of setting up where the team is starting to figure out the defense is still pretty good. Front seven's still like pretty good anyways.
Yeah, they're insane.
And it's kind of Kentucky, they just it's like Mark Stoops said, they need some of that NIL money. They need some of that NIL money. Defense, it was good while it lasted, I guess, for them.
Yeah.
Is it that, or is it their offense? Like Tennessee's offense has figured it out again, like because they slumped. I feel like after the Bama game, like things have been kind of going in stride for them. Like Nico looks a lot more confident. I thought he played really well.
I feel like they've kind of worked. He's
not making the dumb, boneheaded mistakes that he was in some of the other games. Like he seems like he's a lot more confident. He should. He's got excellent talent to throw to. Yeah. He's got a pretty good offensive line, but yeah, no, there is a talent gap. That's the only way that I can look at it. I don't think there was a coaching gap between the two programs. There's just a massive talent gap between Tennessee and Kentucky. And I think Tennessee probably could have beaten them by more if it wasn't for Kentucky's defense.
I think that's why a lot of people, you and I included, got kind of excited when people were talking about
I was gonna say it started off 10-7 going into halftime. Kentucky was up, and then
it felt like another one of those weird ones where Tennessee was just going to be like the Arkansas game, and after that, where they were just losing like the entire game, and then found a way to squeak out. But they really kind of dominated the second half.
Yeah, no, they did, and his top target was Miles Kitselman.
Yep, it's a fun name.
It's kind of weird whenever you have Squirrel White, Deontay Thornton, and Brew McCoy, but that guy's getting open.
I mean, Baker Mayfield had
like
Hollywood Brown, CeeDee Lamb, and all kinds of those guys, and he, Mark Andrews. So, but Mark Andrews is a different level tight end than I think old Kitselman is.
Probably like a top 3 tight end in the NFL.
Yeah, so
there's that. Really not like a whole lot on that game. Dylan Sampson they continued to run the ball better. Like he's figuring it out. But Tennessee's got Mississippi State coming up. That would be a fun game. I'm not entirely sure because I know Mississippi State's just not a very good football team right now, but
they've been scoring some points.
Yeah, I think we'll see what Jeff Lebby like. We'll see what his game plan is going up against the Bulls, but it kind of feels like Tennessee's going to be in the SEC championship because the rest of the way, if they beat Georgia, I think they're in the SEC championship because I think the confidence for beating Georgia, they're obviously going to smash UTEP, and I think they'll still beat Vanderbilt at home. I know Vanderbilt's like a very tough team to play right now because they play up to their competition, but I think that's just going to boost Nico's confidence a ton, and Josh Heupel's going to have much more that he can draw up if Nico is playing more efficient. And yeah, I didn't see anything else that was like super key in this game.
No,
Kentucky just needs more talent on offense.
How do you feel about the blackouts for Tennessee?
Beautiful. I actually kind of like them.
I do too.
Yeah.
Me too.
I kind of like them.
Now, I think the game that everyone's eyes were drawn to this weekend, Saturday night.
Oh, was it Penn State Ohio State?
I mean, outside of that, Saturday night. Well, I mean, that game kind of went how a lot of people expected it to go, right? A lot of people were like, hey, I'll have to see it to believe it with Penn State. South Carolina
put
up 44 on Texas A&M.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Louisville, Clemson.
I mean, I was going to say Iowa State, Texas Tech, but truly it was South Carolina and Texas A&M. Like, that was absolutely insane. And it didn't even feel as close as a 24-point game. It felt a lot more like a blowout than that.
For Iowa State and Texas Tech?
No. South Carolina, Texas, A&M.
Well, no. Sorry, your thing kind of like broke up a little bit, so it sounded like it's. Yeah.
No, the South Carolina, Texas A&M game did not feel like a 24-point game. It felt like South Carolina won that by 50.
We didn't get to record on Friday. I had South Carolina winning this game just because the SEC, they just it's a conference that beats up on each other. There are different matchups that are just favorable, and it just felt like with the quarterback situation that's going on for Texas A&M, I don't know. Like, a gut feeling was like I think South Carolina is just a better team than we're kind of making them out to be. They had LSU. Like they should have beaten LSU. They had so much to not go away with, like the refs calling those 2 pick sixes back. Like they should have handled LSU. The game against Ole Miss, that was just like, what the hell? What was the plan for that? Which I know, Sellers was hurt. And, he was still trying to like play on an injury, and then they should have probably beaten Bama too. Bama kind of slipped away with that one.
Yeah,
it just felt like Texas A&M was riding incredibly high, and they figured out the quarterback situation, and it just felt like South Carolina's defense is much better than we made it out to be. I felt like, hey, it's scored too early. I was getting scared because they were up 14-0 at one point, and I thought this isn't good for my pick because I don't really know how to explain it, but whenever you have like an underdog that gets up early against a team that had been showing that they are a really good football team, like Texas A&M.
Yeah.
It just felt like they were going to come back. I told Brasher, like on the drive to the hotel, I was like, "This isn't good. Texas A&M is going to find a way to come back," and they did. It was 20-17 before the field goal going into halftime to tie it up.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, it was just it was a bludgeon. They were whooping their ass from rooter to tutor.
Yeah.
South Carolina. I mean, prayers up for Le'Veon Moss. That sucks to lose your best player on offense.
1,000%.
Well, I like Marcel Reed a lot, but it's kind of a tough spot to put him in, right?
Yeah.
He's probably going to play the rest of the way, though, right? Like I would play him the rest of the way. I saw some people saying that Mike Elko's handled the quarterback situation very poorly. Kind of reminds me of the way we handled our quarterback situation. But you're trying to find a spark. Like you're trying to, like you don't want. You're trying to play the matchup, and Marcel Reed. I mean, he's athletic. He can escape the pocket. He can make throws. I just think he's like the better talent at quarterback. So I agreed with the decision to play him. But yeah, South Carolina, dude, Rocket Sanders is, I mean, that guy's incredible.
Yeah.
They were just, I mean, Sellers could do whatever he wanted, throwing and running the ball. Happy for Beamer. How do you feel about them storming the field?
I think it's fitting. You beat a top 10 team when no one really gave you a shot. I think it's fitting. You know, I'm anti-fun, anti-field storming, but it's a good time. It's a good time for it.
Yeah. I felt like it was the appropriate time to field storm.
I agree.
Dude, watching, I mean, it got ugly quick. I mean, really quick.
It did.
Third quarter, I think they were under 10 minutes. Rocket Sanders had that 52-yard run that he ripped off.
Yeah.
Then you had the field goal, and it was 30-20. North Sellers just, you know, he had the 57-yard. I mean, it was like a dump off to the flat. And Joshua Simon takes it all the way to the house. South Carolina. I mean, I think Texas A. Who does Texas A&M have going forward? I think obviously they're going to beat New Mexico State. They're going to beat Auburn. I think they're still going to beat Texas too.
Think so?
Just with that matchup, unless Steve Sarkisian just has a mastermind game plan. South Carolina. I mean, we thought they were going to be a good football team after watching what happened with some of the games that they played. Like they've been close in some of these games. If they win out, a lot of things are going to have to fall in place for them to be able to sniff the SEC championship game. A lot of things are going to. It's almost virtually impossible for them. But I think they have the team to do it. Lenore Sellers is probably the most underrated quarterback in the SEC, probably in the country.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
I think he's up there. I don't know that they would win the SEC championship, though. I don't know that they'd fully compete in that. I think
probably couldn't beat Georgia.
I don't think they could beat Georgia. I don't think they could beat Texas on Texas' best day.
I know it's like a tough one because it just beats up on each other.
Well, and that's the thing is like it's so clearly 1-2, right? It's so clearly Texas and Georgia at 1-2, but 3 through 9 could probably get each other on any given day.
I think on any given Saturday, any SEC team could beat
outside of Mississippi State.
Anybody. Yeah, Mississippi State, maybe Auburn. Oklahoma as well, unless Oklahoma
Auburn shoots themselves. Yeah, Auburn shoots themselves in the foot every time they have any semblance of positive momentum. Kind of just like OU does, but Auburn's got much more of a turnover problem than OU does. You know, like defense isn't nearly as good.
And it wasn't a fluke either. I mean, they were just way more physical in the second half than Texas A&M was.
Oh,
and they had the better quarterback.
Yeah, they beat the shit out of Texas A&M in the second half.
But it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, they're riding high right now. They're going to go play Vanderbilt. Currently, whose line is it? South Carolina's favored 3.5 going into Vanderbilt. Would not surprise me if Vanderbilt and Diego Pavia beat South Carolina.
I am very excited to watch that game.
Yeah, I know. That's a game that if you looked, if before the season started, you look at that game and you're like, that doesn't matter. You cover your eyes. That game's going to be gross to watch. And now it's like, I think everybody's going to want to watch that game.
Let's say it beforehand. Everyone's like, this is probably the shitty game of the week, and now everyone's like, that might be the SEC game of the week. Like, yeah. I mean, we got Alabama and LSU, and the OU Missouri rivalry it's been re-sparked on Twitter. Well, I shouldn't say it's been relit. There wasn't ever a rivalry, but now Missouri fans are trying to find some semblance of a rivalry against us. But
it feels like there should be four. Like, when we're looking at the playoff bracket currently, it feels like maybe 4 Big Ten teams, 3 SEC teams, or you could go interchangeable, 4 SEC teams and 3 Big Ten teams. Probably should only be 1 Big 12, 1 ACC.
There will be 1 Big 12, 1 ACC, and it'll be the champion. Unless, no, Clemson's lost to Louisville, killed them. It'll be 1 ACC and 1 Big 12, and 1, obviously, auto bid. But you might get, then Notre Dame. So you have a group of 5, Notre Dame, ACC, Big 12. And then I think you get 4 Big 10 and 4 SEC.
Think so?
Yeah. And I think it's Oregon, Ohio State, Penn State, and Indiana looks like the Indiana-Ohio State game is going to be huge. Indiana looks like a fucking wagon right now. And then Georgia, Texas, Tennessee, and then one of Alabama, LSU, or Texas A&M or Ole Miss.
Yeah. No, I can definitely see that. Georgia, Texas.
Think about, as the bracket sits right now, we would get a December football game between Alabama at Penn State, dude. You know how sick that would be? In Notre Dame at Texas? Or no, Boise State at Texas. You get Notre Dame at Tennessee. And you get BYU at Indiana. Man.
That'd be lit. That's kind of why.
What idiot said the college football playoff 12 teams would be awful? Who said that? I can't imagine.
We can go ahead and talk about Indiana real quick. Google Kirk Cignetti. Everywhere he goes, he wins. I have a question for you.
What's that?
The way that things have kind of turned out for Oklahoma, would you replace Brent Venables with Kirk Cignetti as head coach? Like, if there was do you think Josie should make the call? I'm just asking.
No, because I have a lot of faith in Brent Venables.
I do too. I want him to win out, but I'm just telling you right now.
But if Joe Castiglione felt that it was necessary to move on, and he is moving on from Brent, the first call you make is Kirk Cignetti.
Yeah. If you look at their roster, it's not an eye-popping roster.
No, it's not.
But they are fundamentally sound.
Yep.
At all positions.
Mm-hmm.
They don't make stupid mistakes. They play basically mistake-free football. And they are they're physically imposing. They have an identity, and it's to be the most physical team on Saturdays, whoever they play. And now they're going to play Ohio State. That is a big gap in talent.
I cannot wait for that football game. Oh, man.
And
is that this weekend?
That's going to be a massive – because right now, Kirk Cignetti is the most important – he's the most important coach in college football, not only for Indiana but for other teams that are going to be looking. Because Florida's done with –
Billy Napier.
So that's probably the first person that they call. I'm just saying, if Kirk Cignetti if he beats Ohio State, I think you take it into consideration for if you're Joe.
So you think Florida goes Cignetti over Lane Kiffin?
I don't know. It depends on what if Ole Miss wins out the rest of their games and they continue to stop opponents. I think they probably want to keep them.
Imagine you and I hop on this podcast the Monday morning or the Monday afternoon following the the College Football Playoff National Championship, and we're talking about Kirk Cignetti and Indiana as champions.
I think if you're Oklahoma, you make the phone call.
At that point, you make the phone call.
Yeah.
And you not only
the buyout's
make
going to
the phone
suck.
call,
You really don't want to pay two coaches, but
not only do you make the phone call, I think you land a helicopter in his front yard and hand him a blank check. Say, you write whatever number on this, get your shit and get in the fucking plane. Like, if that happens, you 1,000,000% full sale. It's Kirk Cignetti. And I would almost be disappointed that they wouldn't make it happen.
Bring ever who you want in, just keep Zach Alley and Bill Bedenbaugh.
Well, that's the thing. Zach Alley goes where Brent Venables goes. So no matter what happens there, we lose Zach Alley. But
he has a chance. It's like, hey, you basically you have a chance to run the defense like yourself. Like you're not going to be behind
for sure
Brent Venables. But I really like Brent Venables, and I want him to succeed because I know he cares about the program, and he seems like a great guy, and all those players love him, and they have his back, and they know it was just a bad hire, bad hire for, when Jeff Levy left, you had to replace. I don't know, man. I think you probably.
I love Kirk Cignetti so much.
I think you have to make the phone call. Yeah. I think it depends on how everything plays out. It's got to play out. I think Indiana has to beat Ohio State for me to consider it. But even if they if it's like a 1-point game, like it's 28-27, Ohio State wins. They kick a game-winning field goal, or they.
Will Howard slides with 2 more seconds on the clock than he did.
Yeah.
Against Oregon.
Yeah. I don't know. That game's going to be awesome. We'll talk about it on Friday.
That's excitingly depressing to think about.
Yeah. I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Dan Lanning is a spread guy?
He might be.
He definitely checks the spreads, right?
Oh, no, it has to.
Because what was Oregon favored by? Because I saw something that Oregon was favored by. They were favored 14.5. Was it 14.5 or 13.5?
Closed at 14.5 according to ESPN.
Check that final score. They won by 21 by getting that last touchdown with 25 seconds left to go. Dan Lanning checks spreads. He's a spreads guy.
Has to.
Yeah.
And not only was it it was an 11-play, 90-yard drive that took 7 minutes off the clock.
Yeah. That kind of makes me like Dan Lanning even more, if that's the case.
I love Dan Lanning.
Yeah.
Oh, I love Dan Lanning.
Sometimes whenever you're buying into a college football team for a season, if there's a team that you really like based on moves that they make in the transfer portal and recruiting, you kind of look at it like stocks.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, I'm starting to sound like Colin Cowherd. I'm sorry. That sounded like Colin Cowherd for a second.
Sorry.
But
it didn't have the pretentious douchebag part of it, though.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true. No, but when you're looking at a team, you follow closely with recruiting and acquisitions that they make in the transfer portal, how good of a recruiter is their coach. And so before the season started, with some of the moves that Miami made, I immediately bought in. I think we talked about this before the season started, that I was high on Miami this year. And I liked them to win the ACC, and I thought they were gonna go undefeated, maybe lose one game in the ACC.
Mm-hmm.
I might be ready to kind of sell my stock a little bit.
Oh, Miami?
Yeah, that game. I know.
I know they came away late.
I know they came away late, and they ended up blowing out Duke in the fourth quarter. 26 unanswered.
Yeah. No,
But I
not
mean,
26 unanswered because it was 21-3. So, well, maybe
well,
it would have been that before Duke
32
scored.
to
Yeah,
31 going into the fourth quarter because Duke gets
you're right.
that field goal, and so then they and then Miami pulls
You're
away.
right.
But their defenses look very suspect. But I have been right on my Miami prediction so far. Cam Ward is just continuing to be. He's probably my Heisman front runner.
Really?
Yeah, I think I can officially put him because when they need him to answer, he does.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. But it's between him and Genty for sure. Would I like for it to be either Genty or Travis Hunter? Absolutely. I think it's time we have somebody that's a non-quarterback. With 400 yards and 5 touchdowns, and you need to outscore because your defense isn't holding up their end of the bargain.
Yeah.
Like I trust Cam Ward a lot, and that's why I still like Miami to win the ACC, but their defense hasn't looked great the past few weeks.
Yeah.
Obviously they played Florida State. Florida State scored 14 on them.
Florida State scored 11 points on North Carolina, if that tells you anything else.
Louisville.
Ashton Genty has more touchdowns than Florida State does.
They've been giving up more than 30 points. They gave up because they started the season just beating the shit out of teams, and then they gave up 34 to Virginia Tech. They gave up 38. They're winning barely. Like I need to see them blow the shit out of it. Like
you know what it feels like?
They need to absolutely I need to see them smack a team. It's how we talked about the Ravens last year. Like I need to see them destroy a team.
It feels like 2018 Oklahoma.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Their defense is probably a little bit better than 2018 Oklahoma.
Wet napkins a little bit better than 2014 or 2018 Oklahoma.
Yeah. Yeah, you'd probably take a half-blind orangutan with a concussion over what?
You might take Joe Biden over Oklahoma State.
Who was the defensive coordinator after Mike Stoops?
Ruffin McNeil.
Yeah, Ruffin McNeil. Well, then again, just the scheme they were trying to run just didn't work. But
it did work though. Speed D. No, I'm just kidding. That was awful.
Well, they got Georgia Tech coming up. They should win that game, but I would not be surprised if Georgia Tech scored 35. Got Wake Forest, and they have Syracuse to end the season. ACC championship, probably them and SMU. Good Lord, SMU. Pitt looked like an unstoppable force coming in. They've just been winning their games. Boy, I'm glad that we were right about Rhett Lashley.
Yeah.
We said he was a good coach. Because a lot of people were starting to doubt him after the Nevada game, and he had figured it out. And, dude, Kevin Jennings is fun to watch, dude. Wouldn't you agree?
I completely agree.
That guy
is insane. I love watching SMU football.
Because they've been, ever since the death penalty in the 80s, it's like they're trying to find their stride. Joining a Power 4 conference work.
They've always had the money. That's the thing. Yeah. They've always had the money. If there was going to be
nice part of Dallas, and their campus is fucking beautiful.
If there was going to be one program that was resurrected due to NIL, it was going to be SMU, and especially now that they've joined a Power 4 conference, SMU might be a consistent player in the ACC if they can hold on to coaches like Rhett Lashley.
Well, they got Boston College coming up. That could be a trap game. I know Boston College has kind of fallen off a little bit, but and they should handle that. Virginia is going to be a tough one for them.
Yeah.
I know Virginia is not like a great football team, but they can score, and they proved it whenever they played Clemson.
Yeah. Speaking of which.
Yeah, Dabo Swinney always wants you to buy stock now. Buy stock when you can.
Did you see the Dabo wasn't allowed to vote?
Yeah. Well, he wasn't. Yeah, because he's not registered in that state, correct? Or was it the county or the state?
So what happened was his son's name is also William Swinney. And so his son mailed in a ballot. And so when he went up there to do it, they had already registered his vote because they put it to the wrong William Sweeney. So
He'd be voting for the Lord.
he would be.
He'd be voting
Because,
for the Lord.
he loves his PEDs, his prayer every day.
So Clemson was a good team, or did they just beat the shit out of bad teams?
I think two things are true there.
I'll give you this. Because whenever we did our preview, I think it was like week 4, week 5, you talked about Louisville could potentially beat Notre Dame, and you like that spread for Louisville to potentially cover. Yeah. And I thought, no, Louisville's not a good football team. I went back and I looked at some of the losses they had. I mean, they were one-score games. I mean, they lost to SMU, by 7.
Miami by 7, Notre Dame by 7.
Yeah, so I mean, they've had some of these games where, I mean, they actually are like a much better football team than I gave them credit for. And I'll give Louisville credit. That was an impressive win, and Tyler Shook that guy's so fun to watch playing football.
That Louisville Pitt game in 2 weeks is going to be pretty interesting.
Yeah, because now Pitt's their backs against the wall. Yeah. 7-1, they got to finish out. But that loss to SMU does not help because that was what was the final score? 48-25.
That was the killer for their bid at a playoff spot.
Yeah, it was 48-11, and they scored in the fourth quarter at garbage time points.
Yeah.
So they got absolutely murdered by SMU. But Clemson. Glad we didn't fully buy stock.
I'm never going to be sold on Clemson until they can show me at this point that they can consistently. I need a season or two of Clemson being Clemson before I'm back in.
Yeah, I know it kind of sucks because I want Dabo Swinney to be correct with like his approach and like the transfer portal and everything, but it's just apparent like you have to take guys from the transfer portal.
You have to take advantage of every opportunity to build the best roster possible to go win games of culture.
Yeah.
Have to.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, I agree. The way that's like some of these coaches are doing it, Kirby Smart, Brent Venables, some of the other coaches that their foundation is high score players and developing them, but taking guys in the transfer portal to cover up spots like holes that you need to cover up.
Just not 5 guys on the offensive line.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I know. I mean, that's tough. I think
it's just a tough spot this year.
Yeah. Really. But I want that approach I want it to be more correct than Ole Miss. And unfortunately, Ole Miss has figured it out because they went into Fayetteville and they dragged their nuts across the pigs. Good.
Sorry.
They murdered Arkansas. And
it was the second and third quarter.
Yeah. What was the final score? 61 or 62-31?
Yeah.
I mean, they had to score with 3 minutes left to go in the game to make it 31. Jackson Dart was unstoppable. 25-31.
So was
Watkins?
Yeah.
Jordan Watkins was insane. They didn't have Trey Harris. That's the crazy part. Their explosiveness comes from a receiver like Trey Harris, and they didn't even need him.
Yeah.
They whooped Arkansas up and down.
There's something about...
Well, Green got hurt too. Taylor Green did get hurt, but that wasn't going to make a difference in this football game.
There's something about the baby blues for Ole Miss that just is so pretty.
Well, we had another... I don't know if it was a Lane Kiffin meltdown, but he threw the ball in the stands.
I saw that.
That was kind of funny.
Those are my favorite Lane Kiffin moments when he just loses his shit.
I'll say something nice about Arkansas. They have in my opinion, a guy that's probably going to be a top 10 pick in Landon Jackson. He is phenomenal.
You think Sam Pittman saved his job in Tennessee?
I don't know. After a loss like that,
it's tough.
Time to give it back to Bobby Petrino.
Shit.
Hey, come on. It was one cheerleader.
Yeah. It was one.
Does Hugh Freeze get another chance?
I don't know.
Because Auburn is they have so much talent on their football team. And they just look pathetic. Yeah. Is it a quarterback thing, or is it just Hugh Freeze? I'm an offensive guru and an offensive genius, but my scheme is too complex for some of these low IQ players?
It just doesn't seem like that football team gives a shit.
Did he coach from a hospital bed last week?
He might have.
I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. So in the SEC, Oklahoma 59, Maine 14, Ole Miss throttled Arkansas 63-31, Vanderbilt 17, Auburn 7, Georgia, Florida. That was
a weird one for a while.
What is it about Georgia where they can't just absolutely demolish teams that they're just so much more superior than? But I mean, you had that second half against Alabama. I mean, they started coming back like they, you know, they were rallying back. They throttled Texas, but then they go up against some of these teams that they just are so much more talented than. They just don't get up. Like you can't get them inspired.
I don't know. It's weird, dude.
Because they got a big one next week against Ole Miss.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, we'll actually talk about that. We'll talk about that on Friday because I have some thoughts on that. Yeah, no, Georgia, I mean, they pulled away. Carson Beck, I think it's offensive coordinator issue. I never thought Carson Beck was just, I mean, we talked about him last year. There were some moments in some games where it's like, man, this guy, he's going to be the number one pick in the draft, like his talent and his size and everything. But I don't know. I don't think Bobo's done any favors for him.
No, he definitely hasn't.
Yeah. I don't know what it is about his offense. I think they need to go after a new offensive coordinator. They can score, but they're just so, like, they have the talent. They've got Arian Smith. They've got 3 good tight ends. Like, they've got good receivers and they have good running backs. And their offensive line is good. It just doesn't feel like they're scoring points. That's the crazy thing. But when I watch their offense, everything just seems way too complex. And like Carson Beck is just not seeing the field. And he looks like Sam Darnold. He's seeing ghosts.
Yeah, I know.
So I really don't know how to explain it.
He had another 3 interceptions, didn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, he threw 3 more picks. And Florida has gotten better as a team. Like
they have turned it around tremendously. If only Billy Napier wasn't already dead.
Well, if DJ Lagway doesn't get hurt, I'm not so sure Georgia wins this game.
That's fair. Entirely fair.
I think they probably win this game if DJ Lagway is healthy. And he's going to have to be healthy because they got Texas next week in DKR. But then Mississippi State blowing out Massachusetts 45-20. Good job, Jeff.
Maybe the most impressive win of the weekend.
Yeah, right. South Carolina 44, Texas A&M 20, and then Tennessee 28, Kentucky 18. And then in the Big Ten, obviously Ohio State 20, Penn State 13. I forgot to bring something up on this, and I want your thoughts.
Yeah.
2 things, actually. Gus Johnson is losing his spark. There were moments where, like, there were touchdowns that were happening in this game, or like big moments, big play moments where it almost felt like he wasn't paying attention. He didn't know what was going on. Like the touchdown that Will Howard had after the pick 6, like he led the touchdown drive, and that was a big moment. And he was like, "And touchdown, Ohio State."
Yeah.
I don't know. He's washed. I think Gus Johnson's washed.
Think so? You know who was absolutely fucking awful? The guy calling the OU Maine game.
Yeah.
That dude was a limp dick mother. Oh, dude.
Well, I mean, it's Oklahoma, Maine, you know, like there's really nothing to be
in the same vein.
Nothing to jerk your dick about.
No, but at the same time, like that's your job, dude.
Yeah. Well, that's true. But something that Gus Johnson, he's losing his spark. I think he needs to go back to college basketball. He needs to be a March Madness announcer.
Yes.
He needs to go back to college basketball. He is just so much. I think he needs that. Like, he needs that, like, because March Madness, like, the craziness that happens, like, he needs the spark again to realize, like, hey, I still love doing this. Because, I mean, college football, I think him being just stuck with college football and just basically calling the Big Ten like the big games for big noon
You think he
kickoff.
hates Joel Klatt?
No, I don't think so. I just think they need bigger games. Like they need a big
I
SEC
think they
game.
need prime time games, 6:30
They
games.
need maybe next year, like if Oklahoma and Texas are good again, they need to call another Red River game.
Well, they won't be able to. It's SEC by ESPN.
Yeah, I know the TV deal.
Maybe they just boycott it and do it anyways.
Yeah. Well, the TV deal. I feel like for like the big, massive rivalry games, they need to call some of them, like Oregon.
They should treat it like the NFL where it rotates. Big time games and stuff like that should rotate like the NFL does.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you. Minnesota.
We also need a college football red zone.
Yeah. Oh, another thing I forgot to bring up in this game is Mike Pereira just completely useless, the rules analyst?
Yes. Oh my God.
Dude,
I'm so fucking tired of him.
What the fuck was he doing? Like what was going on in his brain? They were asking him in a big moment, the Ohio State interception, like Joel Klatt was asking, like, hey, you're the rules analyst, what's the definition of a catch? And he was like, oh, I don't know. I'm glad I'm not the ref calling that. I mean, it's like, what the fuck is your job? It's
just like the catch fumble for Penn State.
Yeah. Like, what the fuck is he's so like, I don't know, like it just feels like the rules analyst.
Like he's afraid to say the wrong thing, like it fucking matters.
Yes. I know. Give your fucking opinion. Stand on your ground. Well, then there's also the video of him a while back whenever he was doing the rules analyst. He wasn't even paying attention to the game. The camera cuts to him and it's showing him like doing the tongue thing.
Yeah. He's
gonna look at producer's pussy or something. But yeah, I don't know. Like I'm getting.
I feel like you could get tens of thousands of different guys across the country, like you and I, that could do the rules analyst.
Well, the guy that for CBS for Brad Nessler and Gary Danielson, like that guy, he just stands his ground. He was like, I thought that was a terrible call. You know,
Dean Blandino's better than him.
Yeah, he's kind of useless too, though. I mean, he gives the definition though. Dean Blandino gives the definition. He's really good at what he does, but yeah, I don't know. You also had who's the sideline reporter for? Is it Jenny Tapp?
Yeah, the All-American girl, Jenny Tapp.
Yeah, her mic cut out like a few times in that game too. I felt bad for her.
Yeah, Fox kind of had a weird.
Yeah.
Had a bad day.
Yeah, no, it feels like Joel Klatt's the only one that was excited about that game, and Mike Pereira being just like several times in that game. I'm just like, dude, what the fuck are you even like? Why are we asking him any more questions? Like they're trying to figure out like, hey, what should this call be? And I don't know. He just doesn't want to go against. Yeah, it's like you said, like he was afraid to go against the refs, and it's like, dude, no, stand your fucking ground, say something.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Northwestern 26 against Purdue 20 in an overtime game. Wow.
You got to get some credit. Brush past it, but the Minnesota-Illinois game was fucking fantastic.
I'm going to give some credit to Minnesota. They're actually a pretty solid football team, and PJ Fleck has figured it out.
They got They got one of the best safeties in the country too.
Yeah, they do. And Brosper, like, credit to him. I mean, I thought he had a really good game.
Yeah.
And that's a good. I thought it was a good Illinois team. I don't know. They're kind of falling off the tracks a little bit.
Yeah. They're kind of middle of the road.
Yeah.
Maybe the most surprising thing to me this season so far in college football, Iowa's put together more 40-point games than OU has.
I was not expecting that, dude.
Caleb Johnson, by the way, if Ashton Genty didn't exist, Caleb Johnson would be the best running back in college football this year.
He's phenomenal.
Where
did he come from? Was he always at Iowa? I swear he was somewhere else. Was he not? Jamie, look that up.
Yeah, he's been with Iowa for 3 years.
Okay. Because I've always heard his name.
But this is his. I mean, dude. So his freshman year, he had 779 and 6 touchdowns at 5.2 per carry. Sophomore year went for 463 and 3 with 4 yards per carry. This year, on 170 carries, he's got 1,279 yards, averaging 7.5 yards per carry and 19 touchdowns.
Second best running back. I'd say it's Ashton Genty, him, and then
Dylan Sampson. Or Judkins.
If I'm taking like NFL prospects.
Judkins.
Yeah.
Judkins.
I'd probably take
Javonte Barnes, dude. No, I'm playing.
Yeah. Maybe he found his stride a little bit. Yeah, Indiana just absolutely massacred Michigan State. Yeah. I mean, it was scary there for a second because Michigan State was up 10-0 to start, and then they just got things rolling. Does Stinkin' Riley get fired this year?
It's looking more and more like a yes.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't know. I mean, they fired Grinch before the season started to hire Homeboy, which their defense has looked better with him, but I felt like that was just, plucking a tick off of a rabid dog.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot more. And their new AD did not hire Lincoln Riley, so he's probably thinking, hey, long term, I'm going to bring in a new coach.
Does USC go after Kirk Cignetti? Please, God.
I've never liked USC. Maybe it was just because of the whole Matt Leinart thing and Reggie Bush and what they did to us. But
it is funny to watch Matt Leinart eat crow on fucking Twitter anytime USC loses. All the OU fans just immediately go attack.
I think it's over for Lincoln Riley. He benched Miller Moss, so now we're going to be getting a new quarterback. What was the name of that kid that's going to be playing?
Don't remember.
Yeah, Moss. I mean,
Mayava.
I don't know if he's necessarily the problem. I just think Lincoln Riley and his coaching decisions and how he handles games.
Jaden Mayava.
Jaden Mayava.
It's MAIA.
Do we know anything about this kid?
Let's see what.
Plucking a tick off of a rabid dog.
He's a UNLV transfer. Last season, he was UNLV's starting quarterback. Looks like.
They're strong.
3,000 yards, 17 touchdowns, 10 picks, 63.5% completion percentage.
I mean, Miller Moss hasn't been great.
But Miller Moss also isn't the reason you're losing football games.
Yeah, I would agree. 3 interceptions is not great, but
Miller Moss also looks like an evil Wonder Boy in this fucking photo.
Yeah, he kind of does. Remember when this guy was supposed to win Heisman after the LSU game?
After the bowl game last year.
Yeah, he looked good in those 2 games. I mean, I still think he could potentially be a good quarterback, but yeah, they're going to bench him, which probably a bad decision in my opinion. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Maybe it's like one of those situations with Spencer Rattler in 2020 where they put in Tanner Mordecai.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah, no, it's over for Lincoln Riley for sure. 4 and 5.
So. You think he makes it through the rest of the year? That recruiting class is gonna fucking implode once they fire him, though.
He's got Nebraska. I mean,
I don't know that they necessarily beat Nebraska. Nebraska hadn't even looked good last few weeks, but I don't know that they beat them in 2 weeks.
Rival is I think he's cleared to play. I think they said something that he's gonna, even though he got injured, he's gonna be cleared to go. They got UCLA, which credit to UCLA, they're probably the best 3 and 5 team in the country. So they got
UCLA just beat Nebraska,
and then they're gonna get smacked by Notre Dame.
Yeah.
So.
And Notre Dame's gonna beat the shit out of USC.
4 wins. I mean
it's gotten worse and worse.
I kind of feel bad for USC fans because they're coming out on Twitter and being like, "OU fans, I'm sorry, you guys are right." And it's like, we feel bad for you. I kind of do because I'm passionate about there are some passionate the 3 passionate USC fans out there hate that this is going on. It's like, I mean, yeah, this is just how it is with he's great quarterback developer and a great offensive. He's a good offensive coordinator. I would absolutely take him back in a heartbeat as an offensive. He would never be allowed back on Norman's campus, but you'd be lucky to get him as
dude, the black Escalades and that awful, just crime-ridden neighborhood he lived in. He'd never make it back in Norman.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, we were threatening his family and sending death threats. Do you think?
I think all we legitimately said was his brisket looked like dog shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, no, it's probably over for Lincoln Riley and USC. He'll be an offensive coordinator again. He'll get his shot. He might even go to the NFL. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if,
I would
like,
not be surprised at all if he went to the NFL.
oh, that's a nightmare scenario for me and the Chicago Bears.
Imagine. Do you think there's any way Jerry Jones makes the call? Because, hey, just get up here and run it. Just do it.
The Cardinals hired Cliff Kingsbury. He'll have them looking really good the first season.
Yeah.
They'll be a playoff team in this first season. That's really all I got on college football. The Big 12,
Hey.
I mean, well, let me ask you about your Big 12 champs.
I still want it so desperately to be Iowa State, but, Colorado controls their own destiny at this point.
It just kind of looked like which team was trying to lose more, Texas Tech or Iowa State?
God.
So, yeah, no, Texas Tech pulls away with the victory. It's seemingly looking like BYU versus Colorado in the Big 12 championship. Oklahoma State is the biggest disappointment in the Big 12 this year. It's not even close.
Did you see their uniforms?
Yeah, I did.
The helmet looked cool. It was normal uniforms with the sleeves with the stripes. It's just
yeah.
It's a weird look.
They need a different variation of the All Blacks.
I agree.
They need to just go back to their old uniforms. Their uniforms from 2013 through.
Remember when they had like the helmet that had like all the different you know what I'm talking about? Have all the different decals and stuff in it.
Yeah.
Shit was clean. The Mason Rudolph uniforms. That's what they need to get back to.
Now we're talking about fantastic running backs. Let's go ahead and give credit to Cam Scatterbo. That guy's a beast.
Absolute tank, dude.
Yeah, I got him in my top 5 running backs this season.
Oh, 100%.
So Ollie Gordon has kind of fallen off that. Judkins has fallen off that.
Are we going to do superlatives at the end of the year?
Yes.
Okay.
I think we should. UCF, they figured out that, hey, maybe KJ Jefferson shouldn't be the quarterback, and they went ahead and went with Dylan Ritz, and they absolutely terrorized Arizona, which...
I think KJ Jefferson would actually succeed very, very highly. One of the military academies.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that.
If he was willing to sacrifice a few years of service for the United States of America, I think he could be just the king in one of these academies. Speaking of which, Army 8-0. Jesus.
Yeah, for those that thought that Navy might be better than Army are crazy because
the Navy lost to food, dude.
Yeah, to food. Do you think Kansas State made a mistake moving off of Will Howard?
No, because I think you had to see what you had in Avery Johnson, and I don't think it's much better with Will Howard.
And you now see what you have in Avery Johnson.
And it's not much better than it was with Will Howard.
He's super athletic. I mean, the guy can run the ball like
he's insanely athletic.
He oozes talent. It's just he'll throw a ball. It looks like it's like a Jameis Winston interception.
It's like, dude, what the fuck was that?
He did not have a good game. Houston, Willie Fritz figuring it out with the team. Happy for him. He's a great coach. But yeah, Avery Johnson, not looking good. You got Arizona State next, who is riding high off that win against Oklahoma State. And I think Kansas State's going to beat them. But that Kansas State-Iowa State game is going to be really funny at the end of the year now.
Armageddon, man. For Armageddon.
Yep.
There was like a 3-week period where everyone was like, oh, it'll probably just be an Iowa State-Kansas State rematch the next week. And not anymore.
Well, we got to move on from college football.
We do. It's getting late.
Yeah, this is going to be a very long episode, and I have a ton of stuff that went on for the NFL.
We're going to be going forever. God damn.
Yeah. That was great college football. Happy OU got the win. Excited to play Missouri next week. That's going to be a night game.
Yes, so 6:45.
No one is going to be paying attention because it's LSU, Alabama. Can't wait to get into that one. That is going to be an awesome game. But for the NFL, did we talk about the Texans and Jets? No, we didn't. Garrett Wilson is fucking awesome. That was an awesome game. Texans are in trouble. That's it. I guess we can go. Let's go ahead and just start talking about the NFL. Where are my notes? My notes are just fucking everywhere right now. Pretty good games. I mean, it wasn't like the best week of football. I mean, you kind of had some stinkers and just some blowouts, but I did not have a very good NFL weekend. I know you probably didn't either, but I think mine was way worse than yours. We can go ahead and start with. I thought this was a very entertaining game, and I wish we could have talked about the previews on Friday. Cowboys Falcons. So Cowboys 27. Or I'm sorry, Falcons 27. Cowboys 21. This game was entertaining in the fact that you had a lot of stuff happen. It's good to see. It's fun when Bijan Robinson is tearing it up.
I've always, outside of the fact that he went to Texas, I've always had just a soft spot in my heart for Bijan, dude. He's so good.
Yeah. He's awesome, and it's good to see like they're utilizing him the way that he should. And it's
about
you can unlock him against this Cowboys defense right now. But you had Bijan Robinson going off.
Did you see the Drake London headstand?
Yeah, I did. That's gonna be worrisome for them because he's got the hip injury. Mike McCarthy smashing the tablet. He had that. He had the awesome Dak Prescott like avoiding a sack, throwing it. Rico Dowdle had one of the coolest like touchdown catches. That was sick.
Dak lacerated his hand too, I believe, right?
I thought it was like a hamstring. Didn't he like they ruled him out because of his hamstring?
But he also fucked up his hand.
Yeah, it was his throwing hand. But then they ruled him out because of a hamstring, even though he was clutching his hand.
I don't think he's playing this week, right?
No, it's gonna be Cooper Rush. They're supposed to miss several weeks, so it's gonna be Cooper Rush for like 4 weeks.
I wonder if he pulled it. I'd assume.
I don't know. Cooper Rush, the spark. But yeah, no. Then you had the very pathetic CeeDee Lamb 4th down end around that lost like 15 yards. It ended up being successful later on in the game when they ran it again. But also you just had everything. Zeke, what's going on with Ezekiel Elliott? Apparently, like
he wasn't allowed to meetings or practice.
Yeah, so he wasn't allowed to play. Like they wouldn't let him travel.
They suspended him, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know.
Weird. Feels like Mike McCarthy always gets really stern and strict right before he gets fucking fired.
Yeah, no, it's over for him. I mean, because after the smashing the tablet,
he
was really pissed off because Whataburger's menu wasn't pulling up.
They were in Atlanta, dude. Sunday, he was pissed because he realized Chick-fil-A was still closed.
Yeah, that's true. Also, the funny. I thought it was just it was kind of a weird moment, but they made a jersey. Or Jerry Jones made a jersey for Pam Oliver.
Did he really?
See that?
Yeah,
they posted the photos. Mike McCarthy, Jerry Jones, and Pam Oliver. It was like 84. Pam Oliver. I guess they're trying to get her on the team. They could use all the help they can get. Entertaining game for the most part. I mean, the Falcons. I think they're still a really good football team, in my opinion. And I just don't know if the Cowboys can be considered a good win anymore. Because, the past few years, if you beat the Cowboys, like, that's a good win on your resume because Mike McCarthy, he always, they were going 12-5, they were making the playoffs, and then they would implode.
It was a step up from the Jason Garrett 8-8 every year.
Yeah. Yeah, well, Jason Garrett, I mean, he had a couple of
good teams.
Yeah,
Dak's first couple of years, they were really good.
Yeah. Well, with Dak, I mean, it kind of seems like Dak is really good when they're able to run the ball. Like that's just kind of he did
you
really
cannot
good
rely on Dak to go win you every football game.
In the regular season, you could not in the playoffs when he's throwing the ball. Well, this year they're just not a very good football team. It's basically their entire offense is CeeDee Lamb.
Mm-hmm.
Just get the ball to CeeDee Lamb. Now they did sign Jonathan Mingo.
It feels weird to me when your defense can't stop a nosebleed.
Let's go get another receiver.
Yeah, that's the most Jerry Jones. I saw someone tweet there that's the most Madden trade of all time.
Yeah, that's all in my ass.
Yeah.
Every episode we have to bring that up now. I'm trying to figure out like because the Falcons are still really good, but they've still got to figure out their pass rush. I know they had 3 sacks this game, but their pass rush needs to be figured out. And Drake London, I mean, that's a really good weapon on your team that you're losing.
Yeah.
So like, the Kyle Pitts is going to have to step up. He had 2 touchdowns this game, didn't he? I don't remember. I have to go back and look. Or was it last week that he had 2 touchdowns?
I know he had 2 last week. I don't think he had 2 this week. He had 1 catch for 11 yards.
Oh yeah, I don't know. Maybe Kyle Pitts is just not that good. But yeah,
Darnell Mooney has looked rejuvenated.
Yeah,
in Atlanta.
I think he fits what Kirk Cousins likes to do too, like route concepts and everything. Yeah. So, but yeah, no, I think the Falcons are they're primed to win the NFC South now.
Especially now that the Bucs, Baker's lost his 2 top guys, and the Bucs, much like the Cowboys, cannot stop anything.
Yeah, I think the Bucs are probably the better football team, but with the way the defense is playing now, and then losing Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, and the Falcons beat them twice, so that's just it is what it is there. That's really all I've got on that game. The Cowboys they're ass, dude. They are a bad football team right now, and they're probably
they're going to get to draft Ashton Jeanty in the first round or the top 10. So
yeah, there's that. Well, no, they got Dalvin Cook. That's it's so sad. The Cowboys like old washer. I think Dalvin Cook is still good.
Yeah, it's funny. The Cowboys are like trying to just build the Pro Bowl team from like 2019.
Yeah, I know. It's like, what would you, if I told you that the Cowboys were going to have Ezekiel Elliott and Dalvin Cook on their team,
with CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, and still an offensive line, you'd think,
you would think, man, if it was 2016 or like 2018, that running back room would be absolutely insane. But that's all I have on this game.
Yeah.
You have any other thoughts?
No.
Okay. We can move on. Probably the best game in the early slate, at least I thought it was the best game. Bills 30, Dolphins 27.
Tua, man.
Yeah, Tua. But more importantly, Sean McDermott and Josh Allen is still the Dolphins' daddy. You forgot who daddy was. I'm going to have to spank you. Crazy stat, not really a crazy stat, but just like it just shows like how much Sean McDermott owns the Dolphins. He is now 15-2 against Miami. And
God, really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he's 15-2. I think Josh Allen, I think he's like 12-2 or 11-2. I don't remember. I have to go back. I just saw the Sean McDermott stats. They started off slow. It was 10-3 at one point. The Dolphins were up after the 14-yard Devon Achane touchdown, which that's kind of been the Bills. Like, that's just what they've done. Like most of the season, they had 5 games where they were trailing and they had to come back and win. Like I said, it's been their MO. Things obviously turned around for them whenever they forced the fumble on Mostert. So Josh Allen kind of came alive. He had 156 yards, he had 235 yards passing and 3 touchdowns. I think he had the 1 interception, but that was the one that Keon Coleman, like at the goal line, 4th down, like he bobbled it, couldn't haul it in, and Jalen Ramsey got the interception. Other than that, he had a phenomenal game, and that's with that happening. Keon Coleman not being able to haul in the catch. They had the one where they were in the red zone, and I think Josh Allen threw a touchdown. It was called back for holding, and then he had the one where he had to escape what should have been like 2 sacks that happened. Runs it into the end zone, and then another holding call.
Did you see the Keon Coleman Booking.com commercial, by the way?
Nuh-uh.
I'll send you.
Oh, yeah, so funny. I did.
Niagara Falls, so funny. So funny.
But they had some stuff not go their way where it felt like the Dolphins probably should have won the game other than the fumble that they had, or that Mostert had. They fumble a ton. They had the most fumbles. Because Achane fumbled, I believe, too, right? Who else fumbled in that game? It was either Achane or I know Mostert did and somebody else did. but could have been Waddle. I don't remember. But
No,
then,
they only had one. They only had one for Mustard, at least on
yeah.
the stat sheet.
Well, they had that, but they had multiple sequences where like things were like not going their way, and they still
Yeah.
ended up winning the game. I don't remember if on that sequence where they scored twice and that was called back. I don't remember if they went for the field goal or if they punted.
I don't
Um,
remember either.
but Miami they are much better with Tua. Their offense is definitely much better.
Yeah.
I feel like they are they're risky, I guess you could say.
I think so.
Do you think they're the best 2-win team in football right now? Like if you lined up all the 2-win teams in the NFL, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of 2-win teams, surprisingly, a lot of bad teams.
So you got the Dolphins, you got the Raiders, you got the Browns, the Patriots, the Titans,
Panthers, the
the
Saints,
Giants, the Saints, the Panthers, the Jags. The Jags will probably be the best 2-win team, in my opinion.
I don't know if they beat the Dolphins though.
The Dolphins at full strength, I guess that's fair. That's not a 2-win team. If the Dolphins have been fully healthy all year, they're probably 4 to 5 wins right now.
Yeah, I feel like they would have won another game, or at least they'd be 4-4. I would think so.
They'd be tied for the lead with every team in the NFC West.
Yeah, I guess you could say they're perfectly average because their offense is awesome, but their defense just isn't as great. They'll end up figuring that out.
Did they end up moving Calais Campbell today?
I don't know. I don't remember, but people were kind of showing, or people were talking. This isn't me talking. I'm a big Josh Allen fan, but Josh Allen's kind of in the MVP race now at this point, right?
Fuck.
It's between like him and Lamar, like him and Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Him, Lamar.
At least they still have Calais Campbell, by the way. But
I'm trying to think of who else. Like, if you had your top three, like
Jared Goff.
Yeah. I put Jared Goff up there, but
maybe Jameis Winston.
Yeah. No, right. But yeah, no. I mean, they beat a frisky Dolphins team. It's a rivalry game. I mean, that's a divisional opponent. So for them to win in the fashion they did with a lot of things not go their way, they should have beaten this team. Yes, maybe by more than 3 points, but with given something, divisional game.
That's also credit 61-yard field goal was.
And I wanted to bring that up. I'm gonna credit Sean McDermott a lot for trusting Tyler Bass to go for that 61-yard.
That thing was probably good from 70.
He's got the yips this season. He missed an extra point in this game, and he just hadn't been as good as he normally is. But he did trust me. He said, "You know what? We're going to go for it." And I like that he trusted his kicker to make the 61-yarder. He nailed it. This would be a completely different story if he did not make the field goal. We're probably looking at Sean McDermott like, "You fucking idiot," because the Dolphins, I think, still had a timeout, and they could have, come away with maybe going down the field or at least it would have went into overtime. Yeah, it probably would have went into overtime.
Which the Bills probably would have won the coin toss and
won the game. But it was an exciting game. I had fun watching it. Josh Allen.
It was very entertaining.
He's been really good this season. And Ray Davis, we had the big Ray Davis had that 60-yard.
I have been in love with Ray Davis. And I'm man enough to admit it. I've been in love with Ray Davis since last year. When Kentucky just torched Florida, I was like, that's my
guy. No, he was awesome in that game. And I think he's going to be a much bigger feature in their offense now because you have him and James Cook. Ray Davis is going to be a weapon.
And they're two very different running backs.
Yeah. And Amari Cooper will get going in that offense. I mean, did he even play today? Did he even have a target?
It didn't feel like it.
No, he didn't play.
No.
So he's going to get going, and so that offense is going to be dangerous if Amari Cooper, once he comes back and he's ready to go. Bills, they're a good football team.
Yeah,
they're a very good football team.
Sneaky 7-2. I feel like they had maybe another loss or so, but I didn't realize they were 7-2.
Yeah, no, they're 7-2. Their losses came to the Ravens and then the
Texans on back-to-back weeks. That's probably why I felt that way.
Yeah. And given a rematch, I think they beat the Texans. Given what
Texans kind of stink right now.
Yeah, I know. And I know CJ Stroud hasn't been good, but he lost his top two receivers, and his offensive line is struggling really bad. So Joe Mixon is the majority of their offense right now, until he figures out how to throw to Dalton Schultz.
Yeah.
So, next game, Commanders 27, Giants 22. Commanders are a sneaky 7-2.
Yeah, it would be sneakier if everyone and their mom didn't talk about it nonstop.
Well, I'll give Dan Quinn a lot of credit because they are a very well prepared football team. Most of the weeks they go in there, they have a plan. Cliff Kingsbury, usually his offenses fall off at the end of October. I don't know, with the way Jay Daniels is playing and taking care of the football, I think that's kind of what they want. They're like, hey, we're probably not going to finish like 15-2, 14-3. But if we can win the games that we're supposed to, and we can be physically imposing, they're going to win more football games. And right now, with the way things are going, they're just a very well coached football team. And Jane Daniels is playing. I mean, he didn't have like his best game. He's probably not going to win Rookie of the Week this week.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know, like of the other rookies. I know Roma Dunze's in that conversation. Even though he had a drop, he had a good game. But they, they're 7-2. This is the first time they've been 7-2 since 1996. They've already hit their overall wins.
Insane that is 28 years ago. By the way,
their win total was 6.5. They are at 7, so they've already won that. Also, go ahead.
I wanted to bring it up because you sent it to me, and I still think it's the funniest thing I've ever seen. The Daniel Jones FF.
Awesome stat line. He was going off, dude. That guy, monster first half. Monster first half. That was awesome. Read off that stat line. Know how awesome he was.
What was it? I don't remember it off the top of my head. Let me go pull it. You sent it to me. Hold on.
I've got it.
You might have it. Yeah. Go ahead.
He was in the first half. He was 460 yards and a touchdown. He did finally throw a touchdown at MetLife in front of his home crowd.
Yeah. Did you see the other stat that the time between his last 2 touchdowns at MetLife?
672 days.
The Chiefs won 2 Super Bowls between them.
Yeah. New Year's Day of 2023.
That's insane.
Yeah. So that was the last time he had thrown a touchdown at MetLife. I'll tell you this. He did lower the shoulder at the goal line.
He did.
When he struck those 2 defenders.
Impressive play.
Yeah, that was a very impressive play. It does kind of seem like Brian Daboll is kind of at that point now with Daniel Jones where he knows it's over with Daniel Jones. I don't know what the ownership and the general manager think because they paid him all that money, but it's kind of gotten to the point now where Brian Daboll is calling up more run plays for him where it's like, hey, you know that thing you do as a quarterback when you throw? Yeah, just don't do that anymore.
Yeah, just don't do that.
Yeah, let's run the ball. I mean, he did have 174. He was 20 of 26, 174 yards and 2 touchdowns. When his offensive line gave him protection, he did make some good throws. So I'll give him that.
That's fair.
Yeah, no, it's probably over for him. Even though like he's not having like a terrible season. Like he's not like horrible. I mean, it's not great. I mean, I know his QBR is like 47.9. QBR is so weird. Like I don't ever look at QBR, but he has almost 2,000 yards. He's got 8 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. I mean, that's perfectly Daniel Jones, but I feel like he's played better than what his stats show. At least, especially having like Malik Neighbors out.
It doesn't feel like he's the direct reason that they're losing football games.
Well, no, losing their left tackle, Andrew Thomas had been getting better. Like losing your left tackles, that's rough. Yeah. And Dan Quinn is one of the best defensive lines in football. So even with the roster they had, and by the way, they just signed Marshawn Lattimore, so they just fixed their corner problem.
Yeah.
So Yeah, the Commanders. I want to ask you something about the Commanders.
Okay.
They have the Steelers and Eagles the next 2 weeks. Tough games for them.
Yep.
Big tough games. Realistically speaking, if they go 2-0, do we look at them as like in the NFC Championship game against the Lions?
The Commanders?
Yeah. Like I'm talking over the Packers, over
Falcons.
over the Eagles, over the Falcons. So I mean, they don't really make too many mistakes. Jaden Daniels is very careful with the ball. They've only turned over the ball 3 times this season, which is I saw a stat that is the lowest amount of turnovers through 9 weeks for a team in the NFL since 1933, when they started keeping track of turnovers.
You could talk me into it. You could talk me into it.
And it's not going to look good on my. It's not going to look good for me. But no, their ownership did right. They hired a good head coach that has made a Super Bowl and knows how to win games, and got to see. He's got to see other head coaches. He's got to learn other head coaches and know like what the do's and don'ts. And when being a defensive-minded head coach, that's kind of like the mantra of defensive-minded head coaches, where it's take care of the football. Like don't make too many mistakes.
That's the whole Brent Venables thing.
Yeah, like don't make mistakes. It's not like that's you see the difference between him and like a Steve Sarkisian, where it's like be explosive, like score a bunch of points, like don't be afraid to turn the football over. Like we'll figure it out. Realistically, they probably go 1-1. I could see them maybe beating the Steelers or like the Eagles. Like they're gonna go 1-1 in that sequence. I don't know, but I think we got to start respecting the command. I mean, I do respect the Commanders. I did. After they went 4-2, it was like, this is a much better football team. They shredded the Cardinals, and now, and it's a divisional opponent. The Giants always play the Commanders good. They've beaten, and they're now 2-0 against them, who the Giants usually beat the Commanders. So, I mean, they've kind of gotten over that hump. Jay Daniels is playing well.
He is.
So there's that. But just food for thought on that. Do you have anything else in regards to that?
No, other than it's the first time that a rookie quarterback has swept the Giants in a season.
That's a crazy stat, right?
Yeah, it feels wrong.
Because Dak didn't do it.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I know, that's weird. It does feel wrong.
It feels way wrong. Considering how bad the Giants have been at times, it feels way wrong.
Yeah.
But
Carson Wentz didn't. Jalen Hurts he didn't get to play the Giants twice when he was a rookie because he came in when they benched Carson Wentz. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, no, you're right. That's crazy. Congrats to the Commanders. I'm happy for their fans. They've been in hell. So like, I know their pain.
They still need a new stadium. Their stadium is.
They need a new fucking name.
Yeah, the Commanders is kind of gay.
Yeah. I guess we can move on to the next game. Another game in their early slate. This was not even close. It was a blowout, and I kind of predicted this. I just didn't know it was going to be this bad. Ravens 41, Broncos 10.
Yeah. I thought you were going to go with the other blowout, but that one too. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Absolutely. We'll talk about that one. It just kind of feels virtually impossible to stop Todd Monken's offense right now with the way Lamar Jackson's playing. He is a very good offensive coordinator. Won 2 national championships for Georgia. Had him in the AFC. He's going to get a head coaching job with
100%
with his offense. It doesn't seem too complex, and it plays to the quarterback strengths.
Well, it's been
what he did for Stetson Bennett.
Yeah, it's been entirely efficient. Like that's the craziest part about it. Is as volatile as a player like Lamar Jackson can be, like it's been insanely efficient.
Yeah.
It also helps you have Derrick Henry running the ball for you, but still.
Yeah, that's true. But he's just improved so much as a passer with Todd Monken compared to Greg Roman, where Greg Roman wanted him to run more, like he was a ground and pound type of guy. Yeah. It's a very balanced mixture with Todd Monken. Lamar Jackson, perfect passer rating, 280 yards, 3 touchdowns. It's just, you can't contain him.
Yeah.
Like he's going to, the guy's elusive. He can run the ball, he can throw it. He was throwing some dimes. He's definitely in the MVP conversation. He's at the top of mine right now. So he's just playing outstanding ball. Derrick Henry he's rounding into Tractorcito. He's becoming Tractorcito again. He's incredible. Every game it's the same. Lamar Jackson is going to, if you're going to sack him, like you've got to contain the edges. But it's almost virtually impossible to do that. Zay Flowers is open, like at least wide open, like 6 times a game. I'm glad I was right about him in my pre-draft analysis. He had a monster game. I know they have some issues that they still probably need to work out on their defense just because they still give up explosive plays.
Mm-hmm.
But, what's left on their schedule? Because they're 6-3. They got the Bengals, which that's going to be a tough game for them. They got the Steelers. So they do have 3, I would say, like, maybe it doesn't look tough for them, but it will be, like, tough games because it's the Bengals, Steelers, and Chargers coming up. But if they go 3-0 in that stretch, I don't see them losing another game.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Like in that specific stretch, like I don't see them losing another game, and they'll end up going 14-3. But the NFL's weird. It's a week-to-week league. Like you never know what's gonna. That's the great thing about football. Bo Nix, I'm starting to have fun watching him. The touchdown catch was awesome.
It was.
The touchdown catch was awesome. Great receiver, great all-around athlete. But I think the Broncos were just a symptom of they played the Saints and Broncos and Raiders. Or they played the Saints, Panthers, and Raiders.
Yeah.
3 of the worst teams in the NFL right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah. They got a very fucking tough stretch coming up. They need to get their shit together because they got the Chiefs at home next week. Then they got the Falcons. So, yeah.
It's like that Broncos making the playoffs hill is probably about to start dying here pretty soon.
Like they're a perfectly average team. They're better than the bad teams. They're probably not gonna beat teams that are good, fundamentally sound, well-coached teams. Like, Bo Nix is a rookie quarterback. Troy Franklin, rookie wide receiver. So, they just need to. There's just a couple things that they need to fix. But happy for Nick Benito. He's had a sack in 6 straight games.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, very good football.
Benito's been killing it.
Yeah, he's very good football. Is Ronnie Perkins still on that team?
He might be practice squad, but I believe so.
He's
somewhere in that roster.
Well, they need to put him out there.
God, Nick Benito and Ronnie Perkins cross each other.
That was fun. I wish they were playing under Brent Venables right now. Yeah, there's really nothing much on that game. The 2 teams that it just feels like they are unstoppable right now, and they would be the best Super Bowl matchup in terms of you can't stop their offense, and their defense is good, and they're just tough, physical football teams. It's the Lions and the Ravens.
The Ravens.
Yeah. So that would be an awesome Super Bowl matchup.
Not for us.
You want your Packers, Texans. Turns out you were dead wrong about that.
Fuck, I know. One will kill me now.
Yeah. Next game, Chargers 27, Browns 10. Jameis Winston.
It felt a lot more like a blowout in this one.
Yeah. This is what you get with Jameis Winston. He's gonna have a bad game. He's not gonna be perfect all the time. He had his 3 picks. It's just,
Hey. No matter what he does, Jameis is perfect.
Yep. We never give up on Jameis Winston. He did have 100 career interceptions. I think that 3rd pick. So good for him.
Jameis.
Yeah. I don't give up on Jameis Winston. So he's gonna bounce back. He's gonna have that team ready to go next week. But I knew the Chargers were going to be a good team. I know a lot of people didn't buy stock the same way that I did. It pains me that they that they are a good team and that Jim Harbaugh, he has an identity as a head coach. Like all of his teams have the same identity. They play tough, physical, ground and pound football.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted him so bad in Chicago before the season started, and it sucks because he's with the Chargers and they are a good football team. They're the best scoring defense in the NFL. On paper, they don't have the best like offensive roster, but they still have Justin Herbert, who is phenomenal. He's top 5 quarterback in the NFL. We just don't talk about him that much like we should, just because Chargers weren't going to be seen as like this like quintessential just good football team. Like we thought it was going to take a year. I knew it was going to be good. They're going to finish 9-8, 10-7, and be a playoff team.
Yeah,
it just sucks. But they still have good like. That's the thing when you hire a guy like Jim Harbaugh and he brings the staff that he brings in. Quentin Johnston, he's gotten better. He's been a good wide receiver. He's 4 catches. I mean, he's been much better this season.
He's still double clutching everything though.
Yeah, but he's catching the ball. That's like the first step.
That's true.
Catching the ball. He's going to be fine. All right, like he's going to end up being fine. I think overall he'll be a good player, but he definitely needs to be the number 1 receiver, and he's showing that he can be. Ladd McConkey, guy's awesome.
Yeah.
I had him over Adonai Mitchell in my big board. That was really stupid of me, but now it looks smart.
Dude, Ladd McConkey he's been a savior for my fantasy team this year.
It's been good, dude. He's been good. Like they have players, like they have J.K. Dobbins, like they have the pieces on the offensive line. I'm sure he's gonna want to add he's gonna want to add a guard that's just like physical. Like I don't know, maybe he keeps the same offensive line and just lets them develop and gets them more accustomed to the scheme. Maybe he drafts another tight end. I mean, I don't know. Like, Will Dissly, he's been good for them. Hayden Hurst. I don't know what they're gonna end up doing, but like they've got the pieces on offense. It wasn't gonna seem like they were explosive, but they still have explosive plays.
Yeah.
It's painful to watch. They have an identity. They're going to be a playoff team. But yeah, and then the Browns are back. They're back in full rebuild. What's new, right?
Mm-hmm.
You think they should sell? They should sell everything. Do you think they move on from Stefanski?
I would think so.
Do you think like to be a part, like they need to have a coach for a rebuild and they hire somebody else when the rebuild's complete? Bring back Stefanski.
Yeah,
that'd be funny.
That would be hilarious.
Yeah,
that'd be something. That'd be something the Browns would do.
Yeah, no, they're going to end up trading Myles Garrett to the Lions for. Did you see that? Did you see so on Get Up, or like on the show Get Up, Mike Tannenbaum, the brilliant trade idea that he had. He's a former Jets GM. Go ahead and we're going to put emphasis on former Jets GM. Yeah. You're going to know why. On Get Up, he had a hypothetical trade. It was so bad that it was the most comical thing I had ever heard. He basically said that the Browns, or the Lions, this is like in this trade, the Lions would get Myles Garrett. The Browns would get a second-round pick, so 1 second-round pick, 3 first-round picks, and Jahmyr Gibbs. They laughed in his face.
Right.
Like all of them. They just all laughed. They were like, dude, that is like the worst trade I've ever heard in my life. And of course he was like, well, Detroit's going to win the Super Bowl. And it's like, dude, if they don't win the Super Bowl, like, they lose so much draft capital. Like that's like the worst thing ever. And it's like, you don't want to, Jahmyr Gibbs, that's just redundant to David Montgomery. And it's like, no, there's a reason they have both of them, Sonic and Knuckles.
Exactly. And it's just what's funny is they went and got Zadarius Smith.
Oh yeah, that's true. They
from
did.
The Browns today.
Yeah, I know they got the wrong.
They got the wrong Brown.
Yeah, but yeah, no, they do. I think they got to let go of Myles Garrett. They've got to be in full rebuild and just start over and have some cap space going. So, yeah, there's that. Credit PFT commenter for this fun fact. Teams are now 0-2 on the season when they play a hardball brother just after beating a hardball brother.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
So I think it was
the Commanders, right? Was it the Commanders? No. It wasn't. They haven't played the Chargers.
I'm trying to remember who it was. I think it was the Raiders. Yeah, the Raiders are an example because they beat the Ravens. Remember, they beat John. The next week, the Raiders went on to, or no, the Raiders. Yeah, so like, it's basically like back-to-back 1-1 because they started the season. Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers beat the Raiders.
Yeah, because
the
they
Raiders
lost to the Chargers and then they beat the Ravens. Yep.
Yeah. So basically, I mean, but there have been other teams. Was it the? Now I'm gonna have to go back and see who it was, but was it the Bengals? Because they lost to the Bengals. Play the Chargers.
I don't think so. I don't remember that game.
I don't remember exactly who it was, but if you go back and look, yes, it is true. So like basically, it's the Chargers avenging the Raiders. Jim is avenging John. But yeah, no, they're 1-1. So you know how that gambling development that we had for the Lions, teams that play the Lions go on to lose the next week. Maybe something that we need to track. So team that goes on to play a hardball brother just after beating one are they're 0-2 on that. So the Bengals would be the next team on that. So they got to play the Ravens next week, and then they go on to play the Chargers the next week after that.
Okay, so eyes on the Ravens then.
Yes.
Eyes on the Ravens.
Eyes on that game.
That's a Thursday. They get a Thursday, and then they get a long weekend or an extended bye, whatever you want to call it.
If they beat the Ravens, hammer the Chargers next week.
Yes. Hammer
the Chargers.
And we'll be right there every step of the way.
That's really all I have on that game.
We had a couple games between four shit teams that ended up being very entertaining, and that was Patriots, Titans, and Saints, Panthers.
Yes.
By the way, did you watch the Fastest 3 Minutes last night?
No, I didn't get the chance, unfortunately.
Berman called Chuba Hubbard. He said he called it the Chuba missile crisis.
I saw that. And
that's the best thing. Dude still got it.
Yeah, he's the best. I didn't get to watch the full thing, but I did go on Twitter and I did see that. That was awesome. That was the first one that I've missed all season. I'm really disappointed, but I had to use the bathroom so bad. I'm happy for Brian Callahan on. Well, no, we need to. Yeah, no, we can talk about this game. Yeah, Titans 20, Patriots 17. Happy for Brian Callahan. He was very emotional at his post-game press conference. You know that meant a lot to them, especially after trading DeAndre Hopkins. Like they definitely, they needed a win. Dude, Drake May he's becoming more and more fun to watch. Like
that last play to send it in overtime was insane. But did you see their left guard, Michael Jordan?
What about him?
Just failed to touch anybody. It was so bad.
Yeah, no, that touchdown was hilarious. He was decent. What did he? I mean, he didn't have like a spectacular game, but and I have to go and find the game. Yeah, it went into overtime. But yeah, no, 2 interceptions. I mean, he's a rookie.
200 yards, 2 picks, and a touchdown. 95 yards rushing though. Ran the ball
well. He did run the ball well. Hunter Henry needs to be his main target because some of the receivers, Jalen Polk's going to figure it out. Like they will get him going. Javon Baker probably as well. Do you think they draft a receiver? Because I mean, the trade they didn't.
I think they have a lot more problems than receiver right now.
Well, obviously they're in full rebuild, but maybe they can trade for one and bring an established wide receiver in. Obviously, you need to draft offense. You need to sign an offensive line. You need to get that offensive line fixed.
Fair.
But I don't know. Gerard Mayo's not really making a case for him being the. You have to give him another season though.
100%. Yeah.
You just absolutely have to. But their O-line, I mean, it's
a problem.
Drake May, he's so fun to watch, but he makes sometimes he just makes he makes it look like it's way harder than it needs to be.
Is he going to be the new Jameis?
No.
Don't think so?
No, not at all. No. Nobody can be Jameis.
Fair enough.
But yeah, no, he makes things look very hard sometimes. But then again, yeah, the Patriots, like, their offensive line's bad. They're young. Their wide receivers are very young. But that touchdown that he had to Ramondre Stevenson, where he's just scrambling everywhere, was phenomenal play. Next game, the Saints are absolutely in dumpster fire. Like, everything is just going downhill.
Well, did you see them on Reddit and on Twitter praising Bryce Young for getting Dennis Allen fired?
Yeah.
How awesome was it to see Bryce Young smile, though?
Well, Panthers 23, Saints 22. That was awesome. I thought he played well. The 2 interceptions weren't on him. I mean,
one of them definitely was not on him.
It was just a great play. I mean, Xavier Legette should have held on to the ball. But again, both of them, like, he had some good throws in this game. That's what Bryce Young can do. I mean, they're a bad football team, of course, but the Saints. I gotta take a hit off this real quick.
You're good. Did you see the Xavier Legette talking about his diet? You see that? They were asking him what he eats, and they were like, he goes, I don't eat onions and peppers.
Oh, yeah.
Like that. He's like, I do eat asparagus. They're like, you don't eat fish? Nah, I'm allergic. Yeah, dude, I fucking love Xavier Legette. He's my favorite player.
That's another thing that's going to be, like, in my dumb gambling brain. Like, if he has, like, a routine of, like, a certain food that he eats before every game, I might start after betting him.
Facts.
So that's my dumb gambling brain. I might even bet on I should have bet on the Panthers after watching that. Here's something crazy. The Saints outgained the Panthers by 150 plus yards. They rushed for 150 plus. They also won the turnover battle. In the last 20 years in the league, teams are 275-0 when doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Until Sunday. Now they're 275-1.
That's crazy.
Yeah, no, the Saints did everything better than the Panthers for the most part, except for score points.
I have another team that had a very similar situation.
Yeah, but that's just absolutely insane. And after the I mean, you had every former and current player that's associated with the Saints basically come out on social media, and I mean, they let it be known how they felt. I mean, there was no holding back. I mean, it's like what
Michael Thomas had some shit to say.
Well, I mean, and then you even had, I mean, not just Michael Thomas, but I mean, you had so the account Saint Bink Saunders. So yeah, Bink Saunders come out and he was like, if that was a college bowl game, that motherfucker would have been called the Cottonelle Doodoo Bowl. We just lost the Cottonelle Doodoo Bowl. Shake my head. You had, and then what Cam?
Oh, that's fantastic.
Didn't Cam Jordan come out and say, and he was like, we just lost to the fucking Panthers, dog. And then you had the Panthers,
he was like apologizing to the city of New Orleans.
Yeah, I know. I love all the players that were coming out and being like, you have the same record as us. Like,
yeah.
Jason Horn came out and said something. Yeah, no, you have the same record. Like, you're a dumpster fire now. Yeah, no, it's a dumpster fire for them. They did fire Dennis Allen though. So there's that. They fired.
He's the first coach to go, right? No, Robert Salah. Robert Salah.
Yeah. Again, you're plucking a tick off of a dog with rabies. So there's that. The Michael Thomas tweets, you can read them off. Good. Pull
them up. We don't prepare for anything, by the way. We just go. So
it's the best way to do it.
It is the best way to do it. It's the most genuine conversation. He said they fired all them coaches trying to cover his flaws.
Start from the bottom of it, because I think the first tweet was.
Oh yeah. Said Derek Carr, for you, I've been told y'all shit. Sad. No punctuation. This is hard to read. as a Caucasian.
Yeah.
Derek Carr, for you, I've been told y'all shit sad. Crying emoji, middle finger. Dude's scary and panic and just throw the ball. Get him the F out of here. He's so ass. That year, his buddy went first team All Pro in 2022. He needed 180 targets just to catch 100 passes. He is ass on my granny. He put it on his granny.
I read that he is ass on my granny at first, like all together. Talking about his granny's ass.
She'd probably do better than Derek Carr, according to Michael Thomas. Dude tried to lie and say I was jealous of them making Chris wide receiver 1. Speaking of which, nearly RIP Chris Olave. That was awful.
Yeah, that's why this incident happened, is because obviously that's like his like 5th major concussion. He had the bad one when he played for Ohio State. He's had multiple with he's had 3 really bad ones with the Saints.
Yeah, remember that one? I think it was last year when he got spun down on his head.
Yeah.
He said, dude tried to lie and say I was jealous of them making Chris wide receiver 1. Whole time he can't even get him a decent ball. He need his ass whooped. Then he said they fired all them coaches trying to cover his flaws up. He's still doing the same shit.
I feel bad for Derek Carr. Like I do, because he's a good guy. Like he's a genuine guy.
Punch in the face.
Well, okay. I've turned a new leaf with Derek Carr. I have. I'm a player. I've watched some of his interviews. Like, I mean, yes, there are the stats. You can throw them all out there. Like, he's lost to 31 different NFL teams, and then he has to play his former team coming up. So, like, I get it. Like, Derek Carr, he's been through enough shit, but, like, he had to answer for that. Like, they were asking him in, like, the post-game press conference, and he was like, I don't know why the guy hates me. Like, I've tried to reach out to him. I tried to see what's going on. Like, like, I feel bad for him. Like, I believe him. Like, he's a genuine dude. Like, he cares about his team. Like, I don't know. If I'm Michael Thomas, I'm probably obviously he lashed out. He's mad at how everything is going, but you should probably thinking more about your teammate who was not moving on the field for a little bit. Yeah. By the way, his brother did come out and say, Chris Olave's brother came out and said that he is moving his extremities, which is a good sign. So
yeah, good God.
Yeah, no, I mean
that was violent.
Yeah,
that was the definition of a hospital ball.
Yeah. I feel bad. Brasher put him in his lineup. He's like, Chris Olave's going to have a great game. And then we go to Buc-ee's when we're on our way back, and the first thing he sees on, like a notification popped up that says Chris Olave is leaving on a stretcher, and it's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And that's tough. But no, I do feel bad for Derek Carr after seeing the Michael Thomas tweets. Slant boy. Yeah. We get all that from fucking slant boy.
Yeah, I know.
How's he doing in the NFL right now, by the way?
I don't think he's even on a roster or on a team or anything.
Yeah.
All because, he got turf toe 3.5 years ago.
Yeah. That tells you all you need to know about Michael Thomas. Still a good player, though.
Yeah, still very good.
Yeah, still a good player. He's put up massive yards this season. But yeah, no, I'm happy for the Panthers. I'm happy for Bryce Young. So they're 2-7. Saints are... That's probably.
It's funny because they're 2-7 teams that feel like they're in very different situations.
Yeah, it feels that is not an attractive spot for a head coach. They are an absolute cap hell. They're minus $65 million.
Something like that. They started the season at behind 80 or something like that.
Got to sell everybody. I mean, they are an absolute full rebuild. So I feel bad for Saints fans that they go through this. Next game. Bengals 41, Raiders 24. Bengals are back. Or they beat the Raiders. One of the two. I think they're back.
Raiders.
I think they're back. I trust them. So you don't trust Joe Burrow to run the table?
They got the Ravens, the Chargers, the Steelers. They should beat the Cowboys. They should beat the Titans. Should beat the Browns. Broncos and Steelers. I don't know if they run the table, but they have to if they want to make it in the playoffs.
Yeah, no, they have to. Joe Burrow was incredible in this game, dude. Some of the throws, like I don't know how to explain like watching Joe Burrow. There are two guys that are probably not like the most like athletic, like you see some quarterbacks like CJ Stroud, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and some of the guys that are just like super athletic and they're just like at the top of their game. When there are two guys that you watch that are just so polarizing when they have command of their offense and they're super efficient. They probably, I'd say they're even two of the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL right now.
Yeah.
And that's Baker Mayfield and Joe Burrow that are just super fun to watch. He's probably not outrunning. They're both guys that aren't outrunning defenders, but they make good decisions. They can read a defense and not a guy, they're not quarterbacks that you want to play whenever they're like feeling dangerous.
Okay.
So, yeah, Joe Burrow, 5 touchdowns, 251 yards, interception. I don't even think was his fault. Mike Gesicki, every time Mike Gesicki scores a touchdown, I want to see his gritty get worse and worse and worse.
Fucking
It's the best.
Yes, it's the best worst thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, no, it is the best. Antonio Pearson and the Raiders. They're switching back and forth on their QBs like Ray Allen's tongue. They keep going back and forth trying to find the spark. I don't know. Obviously, to save his job, they're going to have to draft a quarterback. And I love Gardner Minshew. Gardner Minshew's my guy, but good Lord, he was a 6th-round pick, wasn't he? You can't expect him to be Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen out there. Like, he's doing what he can with his talent level. And, they're just not a very good football team right now. Obviously, they don't have Devontae Adams anymore. Brock Bowers is incredible. He almost had probably what would have been the best catch of the week if he would have caught that one-hander.
Yeah.
So they have that. Jacoby Myers is still a good receiver. Trey Turner, obviously they need they need to draft a receiver probably in the 1st round. Obviously, they got some things that they got to figure out, but yeah, they're a 2-win team. There's 9 teams that have 2 wins through 9 weeks this season. There's a lot of bad in the NFL. A lot of bad in the NFL. But I think going back to the Bengals, I think they can make the playoffs. I know they do have that stretch that's coming up. Like you said, it's tough. They've got the Ravens in Baltimore. They go on the road twice to play 2 Harbaugh brothers. They got the Steelers.
The Steelers twice still.
Yeah, they do have the Steelers twice. They do get one at home. So the first one is going to be at home. It's going to be a morning game, or an afternoon. No, it'll be a morning game. So they do have a stretch coming up. But I think if they beat the Ravens and they beat the Chargers and they beat the Steelers, they're running the table. I trust Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. Defense has some questions, yes, but I think Joe Burrow's on a different, he's flipped a switch. He's locked in. You could tell, he's not happy if he doesn't score 6 on every drive. You can tell, he's in that mode right now. And Joe Burrow's one of the more dangerous QBs. You don't want to be in that mode. So
let's start flying through these. This is getting late. I don't have anything else on that game. Do you?
No, I don't.
We'll save our 2 games for last, at least in the afternoon window. Eagles Jags. Didn't really get to watch this because I spent all my time fixated on watching the Packers lose because I hate myself.
Yeah.
Saquon Barkley is insane at football.
Yeah, no, that was one of the craziest plays I'd ever seen. Spinning off the dude, backwards hurdle. He's incredible. Yeah, he's just a phenomenal football player. But
he's going to get a lot of running backs benched.
Yeah.
Or killed.
Well, there's a reason he was a number 2 overall pick in 2018. Guy's incredibly good. The tush push didn't work.
No, did not.
So that's just what they got to figure out there. The Eagles, it got very scary there at the end. I don't know what the definition of a fumble is anymore because I don't think Saquon fumbled on that play. I think I don't know what they were trying to do.
That was weird, dude.
Yeah, the refs, most of you either spoke to join or took an ayahuasca before that game because there was a lot of questionable calls going in. But they were handling. It was 22-0 at one point. Jags. They started coming back. If Nakobe Dean doesn't make that game-saving interception, they score a touchdown. They go up late. and Sirianni is probably going to be tied to a light post, maybe like the ultimate wedgie, that they do in the movies.
Probably.
Yeah. What's an even bigger meltdown than the shaved head if he would have lost that game? What's a bigger crisis?
I think he would have started flipping cars in Philly.
Yeah, who knows? I don't know. I really don't have a whole lot on that game either. Just well, we're gonna see what the Eagles are made of because they got the Cowboys. They're gonna win that game. But the divisional matchup, so you never know. 2 divisional matchups coming up, and then you got the Rams. Rams are starting to look alive a little bit.
NFC West is coming alive between
Yeah.
the Cardinals and the Rams right now.
Yeah. So Jaguars, very tough stretch coming up. Well, I mean, next 2 games are going to be brutal for them.
Yeah.
So, next game, the Rams Seahawks.
Yeah.
Rams are back.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of feeling that. It feels like that. Smith and Jigba, we got to talk about his performance because he was fucking phenomenal. He was catching everything, even though Geno Smith still threw 3 interceptions. It's what you're going to get out of it. He had the full stat line, over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. But Sean McVay is just such a phenomenal coach, and I wish he was a Chicago Bear head coach. The Rams they're rounding into form, and it's looking kind of scary because they got a pretty easy stretch coming up. They got the Dolphins at home. They're going to play the Patriots in New England. I think they're good enough to beat the Eagles and that's going to be a Sunday night game in Los Angeles. They're going to beat the Saints. Bills is going to be a tough game. I mean, they could run the table. I mean, I think there's definitely a window for them to be able to be a wild card team.
100%.
So, and Seahawks, I mean, obviously new head coach, like they're without DK, it's going to take a couple of years for them to get where they need to be. I don't really have much else on that game.
You want to go first? You want me to?
Yeah, I can go first. Cardinals 29, Bears 9. I dealt with a lot of I did a lot of walking around with worst best. I had stomach issues all weekend. It felt like somebody had taken a mallet to my quad. I've had hip pain all weekend. Felt like maybe I dislocated my ankle as well. Like I was just hurting all over my body from all the weekend activities that I had, and plus I just haven't taken very good care of my body lately.
Sounds like you're getting old, man.
Yeah, I definitely am getting old. Should have played sports longer. That was a lot of physical pain that I had to endure. None of that compared to the pain that I felt watching this game. The pain against the Commanders was just like a Hail Mary. Like, I mean, like you lost by a Hail Mary. You found a way to will yourself back into the game. This one, they just gave up. I mean, I turned the game off like at numerous parts in the game. Like, I had to go back and watch. I had to rewatch because I knew we were going to talk about this game. Caleb Williams is not playing good right now. He's not seeing the field. He's reverted back to USC Caleb Williams, where he wants to play hero ball instead of taking the easy checkdowns. And I know his offensive line is doing him no favors. And Shane Waldron, his scheme is we're just going to run one simple route. There's no like option routes or like various concepts. They're just not spreading the field like they should. They're not throwing in the middle of the field. They're not targeting Cole Kmet. Caleb Williams is so desperately like wanting to show like, hey, I can play hero ball. Look at me. Instead of taking the easy checkdowns when they are there. I don't know why Larry Borum was playing at left tackle when Amagachi, your 3rd round pick, who has a higher ceiling, should be getting the reps. He should be playing. Like in my opinion. Season's over. I mean, that's just how it is. Bears are 4-14. We're a joke. We're a bad football team. Bad coach.
I won 4 on the road, dude.
Yeah, we've never won a road game under Matt Eberflus on a Sunday. Wow. And we're going to beat the Patriots at home next week. It's just Cardinals are a good football team. I'll give them that. The Cardinals, they are rounding into form. They've got a good coach. They They beat the 49ers, then they lost to the Packers, then they beat the Chargers. They're a good football team. They beat the frisky Dolphins, and then they just absolutely smacked the Bears. But Caleb Williams is not making good decisions. He's not playing good football right now. I don't know what's going on with him, but he had the deep throw to Roma Dunze. Roma Dunze had a good game. I think he's going to turn out to be good. They got to solve their offensive line. Darnell Wright was out. And, of course, their defense, we can talk about that. Their defense wasn't good, but they had Montez Sweat out, Jaquan Brisker, Kyler Court. Multiple guys are out. The way they handled the Tyreek Stevenson situation was weird. They gave up. They quit. The long DeMarcado touchdown run.
That one is what stood out to me. That when you mentioned they quit, I was like, yeah, kind of.
Yeah, and Matt Eberflus came out and basically said, I called a pass defense in that moment, but bad day for our linebackers. Our linebackers have been a strength. I look at this defense kind of the same way that I look at Brent Venables' Oklahoma defense, where your front seven is strong. You have a strong front seven. Their gaps sound it's hard to run the ball against them. Montez Sweat does so much. He was out, unfortunately. I knew it was over when he couldn't play. He's our Mason Thomas. He just does so much on the edge. We need Austin Booker to round into form if that's who's going to be our other edge guy. Andrew Billings played on an injury, got hurt again, out the rest of the day. Javon Dexter, I knew it was over when Javon Dexter had the penalty on the field goal where I don't know what you call that whenever you hit the long snapper on the head, whenever you're trying to shove him out of the way. What is that penalty called?
Damn it, what is it called? Is it leverage?
Yeah, leverage. Leveraging. Yeah, so that was the penalty that was called on him. There's really not much you can expect with this defense when most of your starting guys are out, but I didn't like the way they handled the Stevenson situation. He made a mistake. I don't know. I wouldn't have benched him. He's still a really good football player. People are talking on Twitter should they trade him? No, he's a fucking good corner.
Yeah.
And Jalen Johnson, I don't know. I've got some candidates though for head coaching. Yeah. Here is who I would, and I'm not putting this all on head coaching, but I think that's just kind of where it's going. Bears fans are just, we don't handle shit like this well. They have a really good roster, but we just don't handle it well.
You think you guys be used to it by now?
I know, everybody was talking about Matt Eberflus is a fucking joke, blah, blah, and I get it, with his record and everything. I don't know. I didn't really expect much with the Cardinals being good. I put this loss more on the offense and Caleb Williams. I put this way more on Caleb Williams. Because I have high expectations for him. So his deep ball's gotten bad. I don't really know how to explain that. His deep ball's gotten worse. That was a strength of his. Everything was a strength of Caleb Williams coming out of college. Deep ball, accuracy, control in the middle of the field.
He just feels off.
Yeah. That's the Bears for it.
Kind of the best way to say it.
People are putting all the blame. They fire all the coaching. It's a top of the organization. It's a top down problem. McCaskies are just shitty owners. They will never pay for a good head coach. They want full control. And I put a lot of this on Ryan Poles. Ryan Poles wanted to keep Eberflus. He trusted him. So I of course, I wanted Jim Harbaugh. I wanted other head coaches, but I rolled with Matt Eberflus. The defense is playing better, and the defense is still going to be really good this season. But it's a top-down problem. But I don't blame as much of this loss on the coaching staff as I do on the players. Don't fucking give up like that. You still need to. You need to play for one another.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I have a completely different take than most Bears fans, where it's fire the coaching staff, fire Waldron, fire this, fire that. It's no, get into the film room, work hard, get some guys healthy. We have a gauntlet coming up, and it's going to be rough because we got the Packers next. We got the Packers, Vikings, Lions, 49ers, Vikings, Lions, Seahawks, and Packers to end this, to basically close out the season. So, yeah. Oh, good for you. You're happy you were right. Happy for you for being right about the Bears. Of course, like in the back of my head, I had a feeling. I thought this roster would be able to overcome Shane Waldron because I had my questions, but I love outside zone and wide zone. I like those concepts.
Yep.
It just I don't know why he came under Shanahan and McVay. I don't know why he doesn't run those concepts more and why we don't target the tight end. I put that on Caleb Williams too. I put a lot of the blame for
You
this
think
week.
Cole Kmet would be featured a whole lot more than he has been?
We are 8-3 when he has more than 50 yards receiving. Maybe we should target that guy more. I don't know with DJ Moore. Like people are like showing like
The
like
clip
stuff.
him walking off the field.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't really know. Like maybe
I feel like on that play, I feel like he stepped
can
out
he
of
establish
bounds.
them? Yeah. Can he establish himself back in? Like I don't think he wants to get flagged. So I don't know. And I don't.
It's not a good look either way.
Should they trade him? Like I don't know. Like he was a very big Justin Fields guy. Like he voiced his opinion on the whole Justin Fields situation. So I don't know. I mean, I feel like you're getting a higher ceiling quarterback with Caleb Williams, who is just a better thrower of the football.
Yeah.
The route concepts are just blah. It's like watching what OU's receivers were doing under Seth Luttrell. There was just like no extending plays. Like they would run the route and then they would just stop and it would be covered. Like there's no option routes. There's no mismatches. Like a good example is watching the Bucks against the Chiefs with what Liam Cohen does and Sterling Shepard finding open spaces. Like our receivers don't find open spaces. They just run the routes and that's it. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't really have much more on this game. Caleb Williams has to play better. You got a tough stretch coming. If the offensive line is not giving him any favors, they really need Braxton Jones back. They need Bill Murray to play more at left guard.
I still love the struggle as a player named Bill Murray.
Yeah. I don't know. I think you probably trade Tevin Jenkins at this point. I don't know what's going on with him. Not that he's been playing bad. It's just he doesn't have that mauling mentality that he used to have. So I don't know. Yeah, everything. I feel dead inside. Like I thought this roster was it. When you look at this roster on paper, it's a fucking awesome roster. It's a top 10 roster in the NFL, and I thought they were going to be able to overcome with their talent. Obviously, injuries don't help, and you need your quarterback to play better. So
yeah.
But yeah, no, I'll be fair on Caleb Williams. He did not play good. So yeah, that's how it is. We need those players back on defense.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a formula going forward to win football games. I don't know if I can trust the offense, even though and Keenan Allen dropped some passes too. I don't know what's going on with him. He had a clutch 4th and 5. I'll stop talking about this game. Yeah, no, we'll beat the Patriots next week. I'll get my hopes up again, and then we'll see from there. Last game, glad we saved yours, because I'll let you go full control on this. Only thoughts that I have: Lions 24, Packers 14. Packers are still a good football team. The Lions are just unstoppable. Yeah. But before I let you talk about how you felt about the game, are the Packers in trouble?
How do you mean?
Jordan Love still looks pretty injured. He's had a lot of injuries this season with the knee, the groin. He still looks hurt. And he still has that interception a game. That's just like, I know you want to clean that stuff up.
I think it makes sense to play him, but if he would have set this game, I wouldn't have hated it.
Bad weather.
I don't know. Bad weather. And the Lions outplayed us in bad weather. Dumb team.
The Lions are just unstoppable. Like
they
just feel like they probably could have scored more points too. I mean, I'm going to credit your defense for holding them 24, but bad weather, bad rain.
Defense held them at 17.
Yeah.
Pick 6.
I think they probably could have scored another touchdown on offense, though. Just like that's how highly I think of the Lions.
Yeah. I mean, the Packers outthrew them. They outrushed them. outgained them totally. They outpossessed them, had more first downs, drops, the pick six. Story of the game, really. I mean, but yeah, no, I mean, if they wanted to, they could have handed the ball off to Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery 40 times, and it could have been exactly like the Penn State-Michigan game last year where J.J. McCarthy didn't throw the ball in the second half. They'd been perfectly fine.
Don't worry, because remember, they're going to trade Jahmyr Gibbs and 3 first-round picks
you're right.
to the Browns. But go ahead.
No, but it was never really in question. The Packers got up on them first drive, went down, scored a field goal, and it was impressive first drive. Dontavian Wicks needs to figure out his hands. It's just a problem. It's a big problem.
You were the first person that came to my mind whenever you dropped that pass.
Yeah, it's been an issue all season. Romeo Doubs has the most sure hands on the team. Jaden Reed looked fantastic. I don't know why we ran it like a motherfucker in the first half, and I get we were down, but the best our offense looked all game was when Josh Jacobs was running the ball.
Yeah.
Had what was it? 2 missed field goals from McManus or just 1? That I don't really read too much into that. It was just a miss.
Well, I'll tell you this: your linebackers played better than our linebackers. They were maybe not like perfect, missed some gap fits that they should have had, but our linebackers were.
I mean, Quay Walker led the team in tackles, but Edgerrin Cooper needs to play. I know. Edgerrin Cooper needs to play a lot more. Only to get 1 sack. That sack should not have been a half sack split, or a sack split between Deshaun Gary and Aaron Mosby. Aaron Mosby absolutely shoved Penei Sewell into the fucking ground and got to Jared Goff.
It looked like he kind of lost his footing too.
Yeah.
Penei Sewell.
I mean, that's part of it. The Packers didn't even allow a sack, dude.
Yeah, I know your offensive line played
2 QB hits. We hit Jared Goff more, but Jordan fumbled the ball twice. 1 went out of bounds. The other 2 recovered. Manuel Wilson fumbled it once.
Look, you played a really good team. You played a really good team. They look like a Super Bowl team right now. If they go and get another edge rusher, it was really, really bad weather. And Jordan Love he looks hurt.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's a well-timed bye week. We're 6-3. See the Packers' remaining schedule. We have obviously the Bears coming out of the bye. We got the 49ers, who are not the same old Niners. We got the Dolphins on Black Friday. Then we go to Detroit on a Thursday. We played Detroit on a Thursday.
Right after you played the Dolphins on a Thursday. But
it'll be the Dolphins game is Black Friday. Or no? No?
Yeah, it is Black Friday. Thursday. But it is Black Friday. Like that, it'll start. Because Black Friday starts at 7 or 9?
I don't know. But that is a Thanksgiving game. My bad. I'm forgetting my birthday's the day before Thanksgiving. So, yeah, we'll play. No, it's on it. 20th is Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Dolphins on Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
We did a couple years back, too. No, that was Christmas. I don't remember.
I feel like you should be playing like the Vikings or the.
Well, we played the Lions last year on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
But that'll be 3 out of the last 4 times we played the Lions will have been on Thursdays. We played them both times on Thursday last year. Thanksgiving and a Thursday night game.
Excuse me. You are going to go 7-3 after you beat the Bears. 49ers, we'll count it as a win. You'll go 8-3. You'll beat the Dolphins, so you'll go 9-3. I think you're going to go 9-4. I think you probably lose the Lions again, depending on no catastrophic things happening to Detroit. Beat the Seahawks, beat the Saints. You'll probably beat the Vikings in a rematch. And depending on how the Bears look at the end of the season, again, rivalry game. If Caleb Williams figures it out, you could go 11-6 or 12-5.
And that's exactly what I was thinking. So I was on Twitter earlier, and they were asking, Packers page posted the remaining schedule, and I was like, at minimum, you go 5-3, and you're 5 or 6 seed in the playoff. At best, you go 7-1, likely still the 5 seed in the playoffs, because I don't think the Lions lose another 2 games.
I think they always have a clunker against the Bears. They're gonna lose to the Bears in Chicago. Like it just, I can't explain it. I don't know why. Lions are the superior team, but they're gonna throw a clunker to the Bears.
But
you might even beat the Lions, honestly.
we could, and I wouldn't doubt it. But I still think we fuck around somewhere. We lose one. We probably, in my mind,
It's probably gonna be the 49ers. You're gonna beat the Lions in that 7-1 stretch, but you'll lose to.
Yeah, but in my mind, probably I'd say probably 6-2 to finish the season. We're a 5 seed either way, and we're depending on what Minnesota does, we're likely a 5 seed. Have an away playoff game, or we're on the road. Well, we'd be an away playoff team the whole way. We have to go win every game on the road. So
probably best to play the Falcons in, right? Because like you're just I think you guys are a mismatch for them in terms of what you do on defense and what they like to do on offense.
As long as it doesn't end up like it did last year. Yeah, no, I think we'd be a 5 seed. Probably win a wild card game. Depending on who we get in the draw, maybe a divisional round game. At best, the hope is to get the Lions get an NFC Championship game for a shot at the Super Bowl. So
yeah,
everything's still in front of them.
Super Bowl
Preston Smith trade felt like a weird salary dump for only $8 million, but the Packers have been in cap hell the last few years, so I kind of understand it. But you get a 7th round pick, which is essentially the 7th round pick you gave to the Titans for Malik Willis. So I think it works out. I think it'll be fun.
Well, and then that probably shows that they trust Lucas Van Ness too.
Him, Aaron Mosby, and Brenton Cox Jr. I think would be fine.
Yeah.
And Kingsley Enagbare.
Who do you have? You have Kenny Clark on the interior.
Devontae Wyatt, TJ Slayton.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're right. Everything is in front of you. You have pieces in the secondary with Jair Alexander and Xavier McKinney. You need them to.
I would have loved to trade for a corner, but.
Yeah. You need them to definitely finish strong.
Yeah.
So, well, did you guys end up getting anybody?
Nope. We just offloaded Preston Smith.
Yeah, man. That is football. It'll suck the life out of you.
You said what?
I said that's football. It'll suck the life out of you.
Yeah. It wasn't a fun Sunday. And then I had to watch that.
Nope, not at all.
Do all my fucking homework. But it is what it is. Sucks, but Lions are the best team in football, so I've kind of accepted it. It just is what it is.
You have to convince us that they're not.
Yeah. Chiefs still necessarily aren't doing that.
I never gave my list also because it's probably going to end up happening depending on how the season goes. Ben Johnson, Mike Vrabel, Bruce Arians, Kirk Cignetti.
Bruce Arians out of retirement?
Hell yeah. I would take Bruce Arians in a heartbeat.
Oh, well, if he'd come out of retirement, to be honest.
No, he's got the chance. Caleb Williams, DJ Moore, Roma Dunze, Keenan Allen. He's got the pieces. Just got to put the offensive line together.
Fair enough.
Bring in a new offensive coordinator. Ben Johnson, obviously.
Love Ben Johnson.
Yeah, Ben Johnson, Kirk Cignetti. But what we'll end up doing is we'll fire Eberflus and then we'll bring in Stinkin' Riley. And that's just like my nightmare scenario. Ugh. Please God.
Oh God, it would be hilarious. I mean, I'd feel bad for you, but it'd be hilarious.
You'd laugh in my face. I would.
I probably would.
And much deserved because I decided to be a Bears fan. So.
Fair enough. Could be worse. You could be like, I don't know, Saints fan.
Yeah. No shit.
Moving on, Sunday night game, kind of felt like a stinker, but it was like kind of exciting. I don't know. Colts, Vikings, Vikings 21, Colts 13. Sam Darnold is kind of reverting back to old Sam Darnold in a way, but still threw 3 touchdowns,
Yeah.
almost 300 yards.
I trusted the Vikings defense too much. That they are very, very fun to watch, and they are very ball hungry. Like three most fun defenses to watch in football: the Chiefs. I'd say the Chiefs, the Vikings. I mean, those are the top 2 for sure. The Chiefs and the Vikings. And then when the Bears are healthy, which they haven't been what they were at the end of last season. Like the end of last season, they were insane, but
they were killer.
But they could be a fun defense to watch too. But yeah, no, the Vikings. Justin Jefferson is phenomenal. He wore. Did you see the photo of him with like the diamonds in his teeth, and he had like the iced out everything.
Mm-hmm.
Such a good football player. They have so much. Like they have a plethora of talent on their offense, but the Colts defense has kind of figured it out a little bit. They knocked a couple of the linemen for Minnesota on their ass. So speed, speed. You got DeForest Buckner was back. Their defense is
when healthy. Their front 4 is pretty dynamic.
Pretty good. Yeah. I think pretty dynamic.
Latu, DeForest Buckner, some of the other guys they got.
Yeah. You know, Sam Darnold had his moments. He looks good, and then he sees ghosts. Like that interception in the end zone was fucking terrible. But then he had an unbelievable throw to Justin Jefferson